YouTube. This is Thrifty with Thrifty's Gaming News Podcast. And the crowd goes wild and the lights go down, and everything's about to get started. Give me just a couple minutes. If you're new here, this is kind of the routine. I do this directly from the PS5, so it takes just a couple minutes to get started. I will be right back, and then we can actually reveal the big news that I have that you've seen all over Twitter. I have a very special guest tonight. I will be right back to get all those introductions done. All right, let's get started. Once again, this is Thrifty's Gaming News Podcast. Tonight, I have a very special guest here, uh, all the way from the deepest, darkest PlayStation corners. No, I'm just kidding. He is none other than King Thrash or Do What You Do 6 on Twitter. And at this point, King Thrash, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
What's good, man? Chilling, man. Same old deal.
Man, I'm impressed that you're on here. I'm super happy about that. Um,
Yeah, I'm very busy, like playing no games. That's what people say I don't do. But I had to take out the time to, you know, to help out my brothers, man. So I'm here.
Man, now that's real funny about the no games thing because I run this through the PS5, I had to get your information, and you have like 7 or 8 thousand trophies. Like you
Well,
body bag me under the
not
table
almost
when it
nine
comes to
thousand.
games. Oh, 9,000, my bad.
Yeah, almost at 9,000.
Yes, yes, 9,000. That's
Mm-hmm.
And now if I'm so I've been following you since before I was thrifty, right? I was just a normal YouTuber watching what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one request of you, and I think the audience needs to know this too. When are we getting a rap album?
Oh man, whenever me and Six stop being lazy. Um, we've talked about it. We went over some beats, but we didn't go over all of them because he has probably 2,000 beats himself, and we need to go over them and choose what we want to do. But we just got to find time to go through 2,000 beats and see what we're gonna pick. But we've talked about it. It's just that he's super busy, and then I'm super busy. Um, so right now, just take it one single at a time. We working on another song right now. I don't know if he's gonna jump on this one, but working on another song with a lot of Mortal Kombat stuff in it. So we're just trying to make gaming more entertaining than just console wars or just talking about video games. I mean, video games to us, to especially me and Sick, we see it as a lifestyle. Um, we're passionate gamers, and we want to see gaming be more entertaining than what the rest of these YouTubers give us. And it's kind of growing. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, the music is. You got a lot more people doing gaming music now. Um, so it's kind of growing, man. I feel like we kind of put it on the map, though, if you ask me.
I mean, I did ask you, but it's the whole thing of maybe y'all could do like a Gamers Unite album. I don't know, something. I'm white, so that sounded really dumb, but like in my brain, it made sense. Like have some PC gamers get on if they can,
Right.
like they could have AI write their songs for them.
Right.
Get Xbox on. They have all the time in the world because they ain't got no games, so it works.
Hmm.
Like they could do
Hmm.
all of this stuff and then have the PlayStation side and just kind of this whole album of
Hmm.
diss tracks to one another or about how gaming brings us together over multi-platforms and stuff like that. You know, stuff I don't know. I was having that thought
No,
because
no,
I want your album.
you, no, you hit it right on the head with that because I don't know if you know the song "Hit After Hit," right? But "Hit After Hit" was like a big song that we made that we're dissing everybody on YouTube, right? Um, just to diss them, just giving our opinions on how we feel about them, right? And the part two, I approached um, Smooth, played him the beat, like, hey, hop on this, man. Give your Xbox side of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk your shit to the PlayStation dudes who get on your nerves or whatever. Like, just have fun with it. Went to post up. None of them want. They were like, oh yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, they'll say yeah, 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 and then it never happened. So, it's really it's easy. It's easy on concept, but it's hard to get people to actually do it. I think post up. I don't know what post up's problem is. I don't know why he wouldn't do it, but he hasn't done it. And then Kid Smooth, I feel like he feels that his skills ain't high enough. And I told him, bro, like, relax, dog. We don't care. My skills, I'm not even a rapper. So, we don't care. I'm approaching you. It's not like, you approaching me. I'm asking you. So you must have something there that I like, okay, do. I think it'd be fantastic, regardless of your skill level, um, to actually put something together like that. So we tried. Trust me. I'm always trying to do things to get the gaming community together. That's why I did the award show to do, to get gamers together, no matter what platform you're on. But so many people take this too serious, or not too serious, because your passion is a serious thing. But the people who watch them believe they should do, and even if that's just being yourself, but what they being on a person's channel that's a quote unquote pony would damage their reputation somehow, and I just don't understand that, especially if it's based on video games and not what your preferences are. So I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to get people together.
No, I mean that makes total sense. So there's still that reverb coming through your mic.
Oh, it's still there.
It's still there.
All right. Yeah, I'll mute myself every time you talk.
Okay,
I'll
sorry,
mute
man.
myself now. Yeah, it's all good. Say your thing.
So, you definitely talked about bringing people together, and your game show or your game awards. I actually watched that, and I thought it was really well done. As a matter of fact, some of the titles that won were titles that I like didn't necessarily vote for, so I was a little kind of hacked off about that. But it also showed that there was very little bias, or at least you tried to control that bias. So we're talking about gaming, we're talking about community, we're talking about bringing people together, and everybody has that starting point. And through listening to Salty's podcast and actually being on his podcast, I get to hear a lot of people's starting points in games, and I never got to hear yours. And so when did you start gaming? And then the secondary question on that is, what game kind of changed this from just, hey, this is something I do on the weekends with my friends, to, hey, this is now a passion? So kind of what was that for you?
Um. Okay. Um. Well, my father, rest in peace. He was a gamer, right? And so I grew up. Like, I always had a system. in one way, shape, or form. They told me that I was in love with gaming since Atari, and I remember as a kid looking at Atari, holding the controller, thinking I'm playing it, but I was the kid that, they'll unplug it while they play. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm playing, and I really thought I was playing. I mean, even to this day. And and so that's my introduction was just because my father was a gamer, my brother was a gamer, and I became a bigger gamer than them. But my father was such a gamer, man. He passed away at 72, and his PlayStation had pre-orders counting down. You know what I'm saying? So he was a gamer for life, and I guess it's in my blood. And the game that really got me started, got me going. I got semi in love with it with the Nintendo era. Mario, loved Mario, loved Duck Hunt. Um, Everything about Nintendo, I loved. Super Nintendo came out, even more in love, and it grew. That love grew more and more and more. And there's so many games that slowly made it a passion. Like 007, fucking Space Harrier on Sega, Ultra Beast. Um, just so I mean, just I can't count how many. Vector Man. I mean, everything. Sega Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Master System. I mean, every system we had. And well, not like every system, but you know what I mean. Like systems, period. We just had them. And if I didn't have it, then my homies had it. You know what I'm saying? So, but the game that actually got me full passion was Metal Gear Solid, man. I remember it. Um, I remember that shit. I mean that stuff. My bad. I remember it. Uh, I remember it. Like it was yesterday, man. It was um, Solid Snake when he killed Sniper Wolf. And as a kid, I ain't never seen that in a video game. I mean, I'm used to Mario. I'm used to the hero saving lives, not taking lives, even if it's out of mercy. I thought that he was gonna find some way to save her. You know what I mean? He's gonna give her a ration. Like, how's he gonna save her, bro? And when the screen goes up, or the camera moves up, and he just shoots her like, wow, like shoot her in the head to put her rest in peace. I'm like shocked. Like, wait a minute, like, oh, hold on, bro. Like, but I liked it because it was. I didn't know that gaming storytelling can be told so well, even as a kid, to where it stuck with me. And it was like, damn, I need more of this. I need to see more of this. And from there on, it was just, me and my homies, man. We all played it together too. That's the thing. We all played Metal Gear together because we wasn't like rich or nothing. So we would piece up. We all pieced up and got Metal Gear right when it came out. Like, we all put our monies together, mowing lawns and doing whatever we could, and got our money together, and we all bought it. And so we were just taking turns on each level playing it. And I wasn't even playing that part, the Sniper Wolf part. So it was even more that I was deeper in the story because I wasn't even focused on gameplay. And so when we seen that happen, it just all of us, we still game to this day. We still extremely passionate gamers, and we all go back to that moment where that happened, like shocked us and shit. So it'll be that. It'll be Metal Gear Solid.
Man, that's awesome. Um, that's one of the things about gaming that is just amazing because everybody has that moment or that game. For me, it was probably Final Fantasy X. Like, I attributed a lot to 7, but I really didn't get my own monies and my own ability to start buying games until probably the PS2, late in the PS2 era. Outside of that, it was just doing what you said, finding any way I could to make money. And then I used to spend it at the a video rental store, and I'd rent games on the weekends. But I mean, outside of birthdays, it was nothing. And so I really I spent time with the video games that I had, and the one that I've probably spent the most with now is Final Fantasy X. It's just the story, everything. But man, the way you talked about that, I watched a buddy of mine literally play through Halo like all the way, and I never touched it because I hated that controller. The original control, I just couldn't do it. And
Oh, same here.
dude, I hated that thing so bad. It sucked. What was it called? The
The
turd,
Duke.
the Duke.
Yeah,
That's
might as well
it.
call it the Dookie.
The Dookie. That's right.
Yeah.
And so, uh, So a couple of the games that I actually have on the docket to talk about tonight are games that are very deep in my in in my gaming life, in my they have their claws in me on a more personal level uh, than your other titles. So like the Final Fantasy series, I remember, when I was growing up, we didn't have just a ton of money, and number one thing that parents fight about is money. And so my parents would have fights, and whenever they were fighting and arguing, I would go into my bedroom and I would pop on Final Fantasy VIII, and I'd put my little CD player next to me, and of course I'm white, so I had Eminem sitting right there, and he was in my ear, and I was just jamming out to the Marshall Mathers LP, playing Final Fantasy X, and like those things, or not 10, Final Fantasy 7, sorry, and those things like stick with me. And then my dad, he was a military man, and so very stern, very strict, didn't show a ton of emotion, and so his and my conversations outside of gaming were like 2 to 3 words, like, "Hey son, how are you?" "I'm fine, Dad." And that was it. So when we were playing Diablo 1, we played it on the original PlayStation, and we actually got to have a ton of good conversation through that. So, I mean, I love that gaming has a different starting point for everybody. And, like, you were talking about the
Right.
Metal Gear Solid, that's a game that I've never played, but you also got to sit there and play it through the eyes of somebody else. Like, you were
Yeah.
watching somebody else while they were reacting to this gameplay, and they were getting that experience as well, but you might have been more immersed because you were like, "Man, give me I want to know what happens next. Let me figure this out."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just really cool. And with that, let's go ahead. I mentioned both of them, but let's go ahead and go into Diablo 4. Reviews came out, and my God, everybody says this thing is going to be fantastic. It is fantastic. It's the greatest Diablo. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Blah blah blah. Is it day one for you, or is it not? And if it's not, actually, no. Either way, what's the reasoning for either getting it day one or not?
I'm not going to get it day one because I'm not a big Diablo fan. I'm not. I played it. I played it. I think somebody ruined it for me. So I was thinking about actually downloading it and playing it again. Um, like I did, like I'm doing with Zelda right now. I'm finishing Breath of the Wild. I never finished it, but um, I want to play Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild is that seafood is so good. But um, Diablo, I was playing Diablo 3. I started with Diablo 3, right? That's how much I wasn't into Diablo. I just never the isotropic view or whatever you call it. Um, I started playing 3, and then one of my friends jumped in, and he just dropped some super powerful weapons. I'm like, oh, cool, cool, thanks. So I'm using them, and I'm like, man, I'm too powerful now, bro. I'm not even having, I'm not even having fun. There's no challenge. So I need a challenge. So I need to go back to it because I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know, probably not too. No, I wasn't too far. Probably about 4 or 5 hours into the game, and one of my homies just jumped in, and dropped some stuff. I'm like, dang, bro. And so I need to go back to it, but it just was never my style. That's what it. I think it's a great game. There's a lot of games out there that I know that are that are great. It's just not my thing. Like Minecraft, I couldn't. I get nauseated looking at that game, but I know it's a great game. You know what I mean? It's just that it's not my cup of tea. And Diablo hasn't had the chance to become my cup of tea, I should say. So I'm not gonna say it's not my cup of tea because I play some insanely crazy stuff, but um, I just same thing with Dragon Age. I need more like animations. I need more reaction to my hits. I need more. I don't know. I just need more to drag me in and keep me in. And I know it's going to be a great game. I know it is a great game. I know it has a large following, and I know that following is one of the strictest following. I remember when Activision announced the cell phone version, and they were like, "Is this a joke? Like, is this a April? What do you say? A unseasoned April Fool's joke or something like that? Like live right there to them, because they love the game so much. It's like, don't play with us." So I know that if these people are saying that it's good, then I believe that it is good or one of the best that they've played. Um, so that's what I like about that community, that they're real honest about it. So I'm gonna try it, but I'm gonna try three. If I can't beat three, then I won't get four because I don't rent my games no more. I buy them, and I'm not gonna buy games I'm not gonna beat. So I already bought Diablo 3. I was giving it a chance, and somebody kind of ruined it for me. But I'm gonna start all over and do it again. And if I like it enough and beat it, then I'll definitely get four.
Have you ever played Diablo 2?
Nope, none of them. Only three.
All right, Thresh, please, for the love of God, don't do Diablo 3. Do
Oh, Diablo
Diablo
3 is
2.
trash in
Diablo
comparison,
3 is
or
trash compared to Diablo 2.
really? Is that on PlayStation?
It is. It's Diablo 2 Resurrected.
On PlayStation 4?
Yep. 4,
Hmm.
5, all of
Okay.
it. It's like
Yeah,
20 bucks
I'll
right
pick it
now.
up. I'm the type of guy. I'll pick it up and check it out. I have absolutely no problem doing that. So I'll try two then. And if I like two, then I'll try three. Or if I could skip three, then I'll go to four. I'll try two. If you're saying two is better, I'll take your word for it.
So what's really cool in on Diablo 2, it continues the story from Diablo 1. There's a ton of YouTube videos about what the actual canon story is for Diablo 1 because Diablo 1 was made by like Sierra, Blizzard, North, something like that, and then it was ported to PlayStation, and some of the things got a little convoluted. When they did Diablo 2, they tried to retcon some of it, and it didn't. So you'll have to go catch a video on like the actual timeline of Diablo 1. That way you get a premise of what's going on. You're going to lose some of the
Okay.
shock and awe of Diablo 1, I'm sorry, of Diablo 2, because some of the things that they do in it are Easter eggs. And so you'll lose a little bit of that, but Diablo 2's story is way better than Diablo 3. The animations are darker, they're grittier. The leveling up system actually takes like some brain power. And so Diablo 3 was just, hey, build this and smash things. And so I feel like Diablo 2 was more fleshed out, and Diablo 3 was way more cartoony and childish. So if you want something that's going to give you the feel of what you can expect from Diablo 4, Diablo 2 is going to be the way to go.
Okay. All right. Definitely.
Sorry, you got me on a game that I love that series.
No, I know that like I can tell by how you're talking about it, man. And it's like I said, man, every guy who liked Diablo are real open and honest about how they feel about Diablo. I think Diablo has it as an advantage because a lot of people don't take their games seriously. They just say they like it because it's a trendy thing to say or dislike it because it's a trendy thing to say. Spider-Man is getting that right now. So, no, I take your word for it. I'll definitely check it out. It should be cheap too.
It should be. I think you can get it at. Was there a physical release of that? Because I think that it's like it's $19, I believe, and like that's not bad if you just play the story. Which that's my hang up with Diablo on the shit. That's my hang up with Diablo like 4 is it's the online only, it's all of that crap, and I just have a problem with that. I have a problem with taking a franchise that I absolutely love and monetizing it to hell and back, just like the reason why I won't play Valhalla. I have 40 hours in Valhalla and never got off the second island. Like, I don't know. I can't progress in that game unless I buy these packs and get this stuff, and it's just a pain in the rear. And so I don't necessarily like that. So to me, Diablo 2 is a more pure form of Diablo. And so if you're going to play it for the story, if you're not looking to do online matchmaking and stuff like that, get Diablo 2, play it, and then wait a couple months for Diablo 4 while you're beating Diablo 3. The stories take like 10, 12 hours, something like that, and they are very rewarding. The final boss of Diablo, or the final fight in Diablo 2 is excellent. And you're right, we do hold Blizzard to the fire a lot because
Oh shit, we having an earthquake right now. What'd you
All
say?
right.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, was that you? Oh, she was outside. Yeah, yeah, we had an earthquake just now. My bad. Go ahead. It
Earth.
wasn't too bad.
See, this is why I don't live in California. Nope.
Ain't not that
Nope.
bad, bro. Just some shaking. It wasn't too bad. Now, if it was still going for a long time, then I'd be like, okay. But this wasn't too bad. It lasted about 20 seconds or so.
So, what do you think about monetization in games? Because that's the big thing that stopped. And then online only games getting shut down early or not delivering what's promised. I did a whole like video on this and I want to know your thoughts because you play a ton of different types of games. I can't tell you how many times I turn on the PlayStation and see this off the wall freaking title being played by you and I'm like, "What the hell is that game? Like where did he even find that?" Like you play so much stuff. What's your view on online only games and games that, when they're online only, like don't deliver the final product?
Yeah, I hate it. I've always hated it. I was telling Sick years ago when Sick and Draco and everybody on the round table were talking about it. And they were all like, "Oh yeah, Anthem's gonna be great. It's gonna be that game. I'm telling you." I'm like, "It looks good, but I'm not buying it." I'm like, "What you mean? It's a service game, yeah, but it's look at it. It's fantastic. It's fucking Iron Man." And I'm like, "Nah, man. I'm not buying it because I doubt they complete it, and I want my games to be full and complete the day I buy them. I want there to be a ending to games when I buy them, and there's just not there's none of that. So, and the game ended up, not completing its roadmap at all. And I just don't like. So I hate service games because I don't want. If it's free to play, it's fine. I still won't play it because I like completion in my game. It's not really the price with me. It's more of I want to be able to beat my game. And to see service games doing what they're doing, all they're really doing is wasting time. They might look good and they might play good, and that makes me feel bad because I look at it like, damn, this could have been a really good game. But I know they're not going to complete it because it's not made to be completed. Once they complete it, it's over, right? And they usually stop making it instead of just completing it. Or they'll stop, or they'll have an ending, but the ending will be short. But then you think about each other characters, and it's always something missing. And I'm old school, man. I'd rather have my game be the game that I bought it, when I beat it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna have me come back to the game, then get some add-ons. Do some DLC. I'm fine with that. If I like your game enough, I'll buy some DLC for it. I bought Persona probably 3 times. Um, so I just can't stand service games, bro. Just for that fact that I feel like even when they come out, um, I feel like they're going to be incomplete or there's going to be something missing for some reason. And I just hate that. I really do. I don't mind playing with people, but I hate playing co-op with people because I feel like it's help. You know what I mean? Like people bring up how I didn't beat Souls games and all that. And most of these guys are playing Souls games and playing them co-op and beating them, with help from somebody. I don't want to beat anything with help. The only game I did that with and was cool with it was Resident Evil 5. I did that. Me and my best friend played that, and we beat it. And it wasn't even help. It was co. It's basically made for co-op. So, nah, I'm not really into it. Not not into service games too much. I'll play multiplayer games. I'll play competitive multiplayer games that don't need an ending, like Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that, to where it's based on you, cooperating with your teams and killing people. I play that all day. But if it's a story-driven game or a game like Anthem or even that phone game is not my style. But games like that, Marvels and stuff like that, I don't think those games should be service games. If you're gonna make it a service game, make it competitive against each other, and have that be the heart of your game or the basis of your game. So I still need to play Destiny. I mean, it's free right now. I got the free one. I have like all the Destinies and haven't really played them. So I don't know, man. Me and service games don't get along too well.
That's funny. Sorry, you said Destiny, and I have all the Yakuza games, and I haven't played a damn one of them more than like an hour each. So it's just like
Oh, I'm in the
it.
same boat. Yes, the same. And that's not even Yakuza, not even a service game, huh? It's
No, it's
just
not.
it's just too big. I feel like there's just too much. I be wanting to get to the story, and I run into like a side mission that I think is the story, and oh man, I love how it looks. I've seen some of the cinemas for it, and I see that it has a good story under there. It's just too much wildness. It's too big. That's just my thing. What's your reason why you don't like Yakuza?
Well, it's not even that I don't like it. It's just every time I play it. So I'm real fickle when it comes to gaming, and one of the things that I have that this channel has kind of pushed me to is I'm playing games that I never in a million years would have ever picked up. Like my first, I hate first person shooters with a freaking passion, and uh, I've played and done a review on Metro 2033, Last Light, and I did a review on Titanfall, which are three FPS games that I actually really thoroughly enjoyed. So, like, it's not even that I don't like the game per se, it's that if a game doesn't grab me in the first 4 or 5 hours, it's really hard for me to keep going. It's why it took me 3 times to actually uh, like complete The Witcher 3 because I couldn't get past the first 4 hours because they are boring, they are slow, and they're just the worst parts of the game. And so it sucks. And there was a guy who came out talking about indie titles, I think mid last month, who basically said like Game Pass. He was talking about Game Pass and why he doesn't like his games going to Game Pass day one or whatnot. And he basically said that as gamers on Game Pass games, they don't give the game the time that it needs to develop as a gamer. So you'll hop in, play for 15 minutes, and bounce right off because it doesn't grab you. Well, ever since The Witcher 3, I have tried to give games a longer leash. But
Right.
man, at the end of the day, if there's something that comes out that is like so Yakuza, and then I also tried Lost Judgment and Judgment, and there were other games that came out around the time that I was gonna try those finally that pulled my attention away. Like when I started up Judgment, Hogwarts Legacy came out, and I absolutely beat the dog piss out of Hogwarts Legacy. Well, I thought I did. I had a so going back to like your channel and some of the stuff I've watched on it. I had what happened to you on Returnal happen to me on Hogwarts. I beat the final boss, or what I thought was the final boss, and I thought the game was over. Like we went back, had the graduation, had the like everybody was in the Great Hall. It was awesome, and I was like, I got a trophy for it, and I was like, dude, that's game. I delete it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Right.
And no, there was like 5 hours of the crap left because you have to level up your character to I think 40 or 38 in order to like do your final thing to then actually beat the game. So it sucked because I got kind of rope-a-doped after spending 50 hours in this. I hadn't beat it yet, but I was already on to something else.
Yeah, exactly what happened to me with Returnal. I saw the credits roll and everything. I'm like, okay, that's a wrap.
That's the
What
game.
else am I supposed to think? That's it.
But so, this wasn't on topic for tonight, but I saw your interview with, oh no, it's Alex. And guys, I'm not throwing him a curveball. I talked to him about it before to ask him if I could bring this up. Um, so in that interview, you and I have kind of the same take on Souls games. I don't have the patience. I don't have a ton of gaming time, and so my gaming time is very valuable. And I don't want to spend an entire night facing one boss or getting my butt kicked several times just to learn the patterns and the moves and all that. I much more would rather just go in, mow them over, and keep the story moving. But it was hard for Alex to understand what you meant by it's not that they're hard because they're beatable, right? It's not that they're
Right.
hard,
Right.
it's that I don't have the gosh dang patience for it.
Right. I mean, it made me think that he doesn't play many Souls games, or I don't know, because anybody should know what I mean when you play Souls game. I didn't play them all, so he should know that I know what I'm talking about. It's not that it's hard. Every game is beatable. It's all based on that type of game is based on patience. It's skill based. Everything is skill based, but it's not too hard to learn a pattern, dodge, and hit. It's just when you die in Demon Souls, you go all the way back almost, or when you gotta, these bosses are made cheesy, which is fine. It's just that they're made this way. So I'm not gonna feel like keep going and go and get my, but I need to get some. I don't know what items to use against you or whatever. It's more of just like you said. I just simply don't have the patience. I don't understand why that was so hard for him to get. But he was on his channel, so he doesn't want me to have a reason. He wants me to make an excuse, and I'm like, bro, it's not an excuse. I just simply don't have the patience. You can take it how you want it, but the game takes patience. Anybody can beat these games. It's not a skill issue. I don't know why he brought up skill issues. It's not a skill issue. I have things to do in life, bro. If I was a kid, if I was still young and still had the time and didn't have work to do or wife to cook for or get cooked food with and spend time with and other games that are out there that are available to me, I would have beat this 10 times over. It's just that game demands you to have patience. You got to learn this boss. It's not about the skills that you learned during the lead up to the boss. It's about whatever skills that you have, whatever you did can be different because you can choose different builds and make different builds. So these bosses aren't really made around a certain build. They're made around just the stage type or whatever it is. But it's not about the skills. Most games you utilize the skills that you got to beat the boss on that level. You may have learned how to use a sword strike in this stage, and so this boss is based on a sword strike or whatever. Those are the normal ways to do shit, and I'm used to that, and I can do that, and I can do like I said, I can do the souls. It's just that one is just based on learning that pattern of the boss, what he's gonna do. Sit back, die a couple of times or 100 times on purpose or whatever, just to learn the patterns of what this boss is gonna do, and then beat him. Or co-op and have your stronger friend beat him with you, whatever. And me, I just don't have the patience for it. Nor do I like doing co-op. Like I said earlier, I'm not a co-op guy. JTech asked me several times, "Hey, bro, let's go, let's run it," because JTech has, I believe, platinumed Demon Souls, so he got super strong characters, and he'll help me run through it. But I'm like, nah, I would rather come back to it when I feel like I have time to be patient and slowly, gradually go through these games. And that's what I do. I went back to play Bloodborne, I think not too long ago, like 3, 4 days ago, and moved up a level, got a new challenge, and then I'll wait. It's just that it's just so tiring for me to be that patient. I don't like to be that patient when I'm playing video games.
Yeah, and that's my problem. The game is designed those games are designed for them to take a long time, right? If they were more streamlined and more just, action oriented, then and I know Souls fans, there's a ton of action. That's not what I mean. Like the slow moving, methodical, you have to time everything, you have to do this, and if not, you die. Like that's not fun for me. And those games would not be nearly as long, so to speak, as they are if the battles and the fighting was less demanding. I'm not going to say easier because it's not a skill issue. It's less demanding. They're designed to make you have to learn the patterns and have to die, like you said, 100 times just so you
Yeah,
can figure it out.
yeah, yeah. And I understand how that's fun for people. I do, and it could be fun for me as well. It's just that I'm only gonna want to die so many times, especially in a cheesy way. This guy is just, dash across. This guy is giant and dashes across the screen faster than you can count, or even camera angles, and there's other problems with the game for its difficulty level that kind of messes you up too, because the camera angle can get you. You can get hit. Like some of the hit markers are bad, things like that. But that's gaming, right? I mean, that's if I could play Ninja Gaiden, I could play this. And I told him I've beaten harder games, and it's because I have. You know what I mean? It's just th- this is just a different type of game, and you need to be patient in order to go through it easily. And I just don't got the patience. I don't.
It's a time and patience thing, right? I don't want to have to take that long to learn it. Like right now, I'm playing Ratchet and Clank, and never played it before. Well, I've played all the other older versions, and I played the one on the PS4, but I haven't played Rift Apart, and I'm playing it, and I'm probably gonna have about 11 hours by the time I beat it. I have two last places to go, and it's a game that, yes, I've died. There's been a couple times where I've gotten my butt kicked. There's been a couple where I've just like, oh man, I fell off. Whoops. Like it's a platformer at heart. So I mean, like that's fine. But if I'm sitting there dying 60, 70, even 20 or 30 times to the same boss, man, I'm not going to sit and give it that much time in my life to just beat a boss so I can finish the game. Because at that point, I'm just playing to beat the boss. I'm not playing for the story. I'm just playing to beat the game. And that's not me. I like playing games for story, right?
Right. Yeah. No,
But
100% for you on that.
speaking of stories, let's get into one of the greatest stories that's ever been told in gaming, and that is The Witcher 3. It really is, I'd say, in the top 10 of best story driven games, period, bar none. It's open world. The freaking side quest, all of them matter, and some of the side quests are actually better than the main quest. The Bloody Baron is by far the best side quest or section of side quests in a video game, period. And that's coming from a person who absolutely loves RPGs and JRPGs. And so side quests are kind of my thing. And The Witcher 3 reaches 50 million in sales, bringing the total franchise to 75 million. That's freaking nuts. That puts it up there with the Red Dead series, and it puts it up there with it's Red Dead, Smash Bros, uh, Worms, apparently. Mortal Kombat and Borderlands are all kind of in that 70 to 80 range.
Uh-huh.
And CDPR is not known for giving games that are, how do we say it, complete and not buggy. So, like, this gives me a little bit of hope for Starfield, to be quite honest, because we see CDPR completely bomb Cyberpunk, and we see them the state of what The Witcher 3 was, which was their best release, but it was still a buggy mess when it first came out. The Witcher 2 and the first Witcher were buggy messes when they first came out. As a matter of fact, there's still some game-breaking bugs in The Witcher 1. So like why what is the reason that companies like this? Now mind you, I've bragged on The Witcher 3 up one way and down the other. But what is it about gamers? Are we stupid? Like, why do we keep giving these companies day one type of money and let them give us shit products to start that's going to take 5 years in order for it to become great?
Um, it's I don't know what it is, man. I think it's we're more starved than what we used to be. Is what my thought process was on that whole thing. If you go back to the PS3 era, the last great era for me, the PS3 360 era, simply because the insane amount of games that we had. Almost everything had a trilogy. Uncharted, um, Infamous. There were like two. There was two Grand Theft Autos and basically two Red Dead Redemptions on top of remakes like Bully and all of that from Rockstar. Rockstar had a ton of games. We had boxing games. We had Gears trilogy. We had what 4 or 5 Halos. We had like just there was so much content on the things that made that generation great. I can't even like continue to tell you how many games. There's just so many, right? And right now we don't get that. PS4 era, we got one Uncharted. We got one The Last of Us. Well, kind of two, but really one. We still had the same Grand Theft Auto that we had back in the PS3, just remastered. Um, I mean, if you look at one Halo or one or two Halos, two Halos if you count this generation's, what's the name? Um, two Gears instead of three, and two of them, both of them were kind of lackluster in comparison to the old one. So I believe that we've been getting less and less and less. We had no absolutely no boxing games, bro. Like none. Like just less and less and less from everybody from third party to first party games. We have way less games than what we used to. And people are just they're seeing trailers and be like, okay, that looks good. I'm gonna get that. And it comes out, and we basically already bought it because people pre-order. And when they don't need to pre-order, this is not the era of pre-orders no more. Game stores get enough games, and most people are buying digitally. You don't need to stand in line for that. And but people still pre-ordering and doing all of this. And I just think that we've got ourselves caught up in the culture that the executives wanted us to be in. And right now, the executives are beating us because we're living in an era to where people are championing and praising executives more than games, and we're letting them control what we like and don't like. Well, what people like and don't like, because people will make that if they if Phil Spencer, right? I don't even mean to bring up Phil Spencer. You could say Jim Ryan. If Jim Ryan does something, um, gamers will go all over it, whether it's good or bad. And we were talking about Jim Ryan. We don't know Jim Ryan left from right. We don't know what he has nothing to do with us other than selling us a product. Our only job is to buy one, but we feel like we got to give him a congratulations whenever something's good or bad, or if it's bad, say something bad about him. We make them um, responsible for our gaming, and instead of us making ourselves responsible for our gaming, we need to be more strict on these developers and people like these executives, not just when it's convenient for us to talk to each other and talk smack to each other on Twitter and YouTube, but when it comes to our gaming lives. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. You see this PlayStation show we just had. I know that's a topic. And looking at this Xbox thing coming up, I'm not even excited about that. And look what everybody's talking about, especially on the Xbox side. They're talking about the Activision Blizzard and the CMA. We've given too much thought about what's going on with these companies more than what we're doing with our own gaming, and that's hurting us, and we're losing our power. Right now, people are pushing for Microsoft to get this cloud-based gaming to go through, not realizing that cloud-based gaming is going to take away the little bit of power that we have left, because they no longer have to we no longer have the ability to vote with our wallets if everything's going to be streaming, if everything is going to be in the cloud, if everything is going to be in a rental service. We are paying before we get these games. And if we start paying before we get these games, it's no longer going to be about making games that please us. It'll be about making games that please these service providers, and that's where gaming is going to die. And then, but people are gonna they're already forming people to get used to this type of stuff, and that's why we get games the way we do. It's because the executives are getting more control and trying to make more money by giving us less and making us stay here and let them slide with incomplete games. EA said this stuff a long time ago. He said that the future, and this was like I promise you, like probably the first month of the PS4 and Xbox One era. He was saying that we are going to push gaming to the point where gamers play longer. We put out less games, and it'll be service based. And everybody was talking smack. Like, man, shut up, EA. You the worst. You the worst company out there. Like there was always the worst. There was always voted the worst company and all this stuff. But what he has said has come true. Everybody hated Don Matrick. Oh, if you don't like this, and things. He was talking about things being in the future and things being more service based. Oh, shut up. It's true. everything that these guys have been saying has happened. We have given them the ability to make it happen, and it's on us. It's on us collectively. You know what I'm saying? And right now we're losing, and we're going to continue to lose until people start waking up and stop, celebrating these executives the way they are.
Man, that was good. I actually agree with all of that. Like it's and we have a there's a weird thing in the gaming community that's like the worst form of tribalism I think I've ever seen. Uh, Now, mind you, I have only ever owned a regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PS2, PS3, 4, and now a 5. And my kid has a Switch. And so like I'm I'm only part of this ecosystem. But at the same time, like this is why games as a service bother me so bad because a game as a service back in the day what that meant was that you had your game and it was on a disc. And then that disc was, purchased by you. Once you purchased that disc, you could play the campaign. 10, 20 years go by, you can still pop that game in and play the campaign. The
Right.
multiplayer might be shut down, all the stuff that you bought might be non-existent, but you can still log in, or not log in, you could still download it from the disc or just pop the disc in and play the game. And that's what bothers me so bad about games as a service because they're both giving you incomplete games, right? The game that comes out as a broken mess, as a piece of junk, as something that needs 35 patches and needs an extra year and we're going to give you free DLC, I'm talking about Cyberpunk now. Even
Hmm.
those kind of games are incomplete in their delivery, just like a games as a service game is now incomplete or could potentially be incomplete. Like Blizzard came out and said that it's only going to be cosmetics in the store for Diablo 4. Well, what happens when people don't buy those cosmetics?
Yeah, exactly. The game shuts the fuck down. I
The
mean,
game
shuts down.
shuts
My bad.
down. Right? No, you're good. You're good. Like I said,
I'm trying.
it's
I'm trying.
PG-13, man. You get one
Yeah, I'll
F
give it
bomb.
to you.
That's No, as a matter of fact, I got some folks in the chat who would probably love that. They always tell me to. They're always like starting like chants like, let's get Thrifty to swear. Let's get that. My son usually watches some stuff on my channel, and so I don't like answering the question of, hey, Dad, why am I not allowed to say this, but you are? Because shut the hell up.
Right,
That's why.
right. Hmm.
So, but okay, so games come out broken. We give them our money. We trust them. We do this. I was actually in the Cyberpunk Day One Club, and I'm one of the ones that got a refund. Toolman, hang on. Sorry, I don't typically interact with chat, but I'm going to here. Toolman, you said that I swear all the time. That's a dang lie. I swear on Thoughts with Thrifty because that's just me, and my son never watches that show because I don't let him. So, kiss my rear end. And anyways, back to what I was there's so last week on Thoughts with Thrifty they were one of the guys in the chat. I was having a hard time keeping all my thoughts straight, and he goes, man, that's why Thrash just doesn't watch the chat.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's true. You can't look. That's one of my cardinal rules for any visitor, man. Do not look at the chat. They will suck you in, and you will never come out. David Jeff fell for it, man. I told him don't look at the chat. Don't look at it, David Jeff. He looked at it and it turned into a whole other thing. So it's just they try to get me all the time. So it is what it is.
So, I was looking up the sales. Speaking of Cyberpunk and Witcher and CDPR, I was looking up the sales charts, and I couldn't believe that the number one game, the absolute number one game in sales is freaking Tetris.
Yep, yep. That is the numero uno.
345 million copies.
And counting. Yes, sir. That's a classic. I'm one of the rare. See, people tell me I don't beat hard games. I beat Tetris. I didn't even know it had an ending, bro. I beat it on the Game Boy. Like when a rocket flies and like there's a rocket that takes off. I don't know why. I don't know why a rocket takes off, but a rocket takes off. I think I was on the fastest stage or whatever. You know when the stuff comes down the fastest. I think I was in there probably for like 30 minutes, just hitting it. I don't know. I was just on. You know what I'm saying? Like as a kid, you really got that concentration. And yeah, man, I actually beat it. I was like, oh, this has a. I didn't even know it had an ending. I just was just playing it, and
I didn't think it
kind of
did.
yeah, yeah. Look it up. There's a rocket that blasts off. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Most people haven't beat it. Like I said, man, it's like most people like didn't even know. I didn't know it had an ending. Nobody ever told me about an ending, probably because they never beat it. And I didn't know that you could beat it. I thought it was just infinite. You just go and get a high score and that's it. But the highest score I ever got, and I only did it once. Um, the highest score I ever got, a rocket lifted off. Like it was like a cinematic on a Game Boy. It was like a I don't know why a rocket. I mean they will always show the Russian cities and all that good stuff in the background or whatever, but never nothing about space. And I don't know what this has to do with space, but I guess maybe it's about Russian space liftoff or something. I don't know. I don't know, but a rocket lifted off for whatever reason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, let's. Sorry, that whole thing just kind of. That's
Throw you for a
insane.
loop.
Dude, I didn't know it had a freaking end.
Yeah, I wonder if it's on Google. I need to Google it. But yeah, there's definitely an ending to it.
That's incredible. So yeah, once again, so your patience has like grown thinner the older you've gotten then.
Yeah,
Is that what I'm
yeah,
understanding?
yeah. Once you get married, bro, your patience is
Facts.
gonna definitely wear thin.
You must have kids also.
Oh no, no, we're working on that. That's why I don't have a lot of time.
Gotcha. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and segue right into Yoshi P is a wizard and genius, and I fully trust him with Final Fantasy 16. But they have made the very bold claim that Final Fantasy 16 will not have a day one patch. Not that it doesn't even have one, but that it won't need one. Do we think that the publisher that gave us Forspoken, Valkyrie Elysium, Star Ocean 6, that's giving us a phone party game, and that has given us the PS3 textures in Final Fantasy VII Remake when it first launched, do we think that they're actually going to be able to uphold that claim?
Um, at first I would believe no, right? But they did call in Sony. This is why it's exclusive in the first place, because Sony has given them all the help that they needed to make this game work properly. I believe that the game could come out today, and they're just working on the stuff now that would be the day one patch, and to make sure that it's out just day one without needing the patch. They started the patch early because the game was finished early, and I think it's because people at PlayStation are also wizards, and maybe it's that. Now, if we go by the track record alone, that is a bold-faced lie. This game will have a day one patch, and then a day 1.20 patch. You know what I'm saying? Like we have plenty of patches. Um, but that is a extremely bold and unnecessary claim because we are all used to day one patches. That is a very bold and unnecessary weird flex. So and it's only weird because it's unheard of. So if they can pull it off, I'm gonna give them his props because we need to see more of that. We need to see people. Maybe they're loving this game so much that they want to make sure that their baby's hair is combed, in the correct way. You know what I mean? And that's how it used to be back in the day. You know, We used to get games where there was no such thing as getting patches, and so these games had to be complete. And maybe, just maybe, they've done it. They don't need a day one patch. That does not mean that there won't be a day two patch, though.
So yeah, that's kind of that's kind of my thought. Like, I hope it happens because I'm damn sure tired of getting a game that takes 80 gigs of space and then having to have a day one patch that takes another 45 gigs. Like, that's just release your game. And the one thing that kind of gets me kind of hopeful is the when they were supposed to release it last year, several months beforehand, they were like, "Hey, listen, we're not going to make it, and we're not going to push it. We need to go ahead and take all of our time that we need on this, and then we're going to go ahead and release it." And then, like a couple months later, they said, "Oh, by the way, the game is fully playable from start to finish, and it's done. We are going to take the next 9 months to polish this thing." And then that's, when we got the release date. And, like, man, I don't know, dude. 9 months of polish, that's a lot of spit shine that you can put on a video game. That's a lot of stuff you can do. That's the life cycle that it took CDPR to get Cyberpunk to a optimal standard, or a
Right,
standard at all.
right.
And so,
And I love Cyberpunk too. That's my shit. That's my stuff. That's my stuff.
oh, do you really like it?
Oh, I beat it. Yeah, I'm like you. Day one. I'm a day one guy. Got it day one. I'm a cyberpunk. I like cyberpunk through and through. Just the genre itself. Deus Ex is one of my favorite games of all time. You know what I'm saying? Deus Ex, that whole series. Love those games. Um, but I couldn't play it just because I was feeling the story was good, but it just had so many glitches that I'm like, I'm not playing this until they fix this. And I saw the pressure that Sony put on them and took it out of the game store and all of that. So I was like, I know they're going to fix it because I know how CD Projekt Red is. It's going to take, and it took what 2 years almost. And I played the PS5 version. Look, I don't know if did they give it for free or did I have to pay for the PS5 version? Because I had the PS4 version. I think the PS4 version lets you play the PS5 version for free. I'm not sure, but whatever happened, I beat the PS5 version, which played 1,000 times better than the PS4 version. But I'm a big fan of it. I love that game. In fact, I'm gonna beat it again. I'm waiting for this DLC to come out, but I'm gonna definitely beat it again. I wanted to beat it again right after I beat it, just to get into what's her name, Pan Am's pants. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get her. So um, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but I'm gonna wait for the DLC to come out. But it's expanded a lot though. You know what I'm saying? Even from the anime, they added some of the weapons from the anime and all that. So I haven't played none of that. So I just played it, beat it right when it came out in the PS5 version, and then I'm waiting to beat it again when the DLC come out.
All right. Well, man, wow. Okay. I got my money back on it, and then I paid 4.99 at my local Game Point here, and got that taken care of that way. So I still have a copy of it, but it's a first-person game. I'm not a fan of first person in the first place. I bought it based off of the merits of CDPR, not necessarily based off of knowing a lot about the game. I knew it was super hyped, but I don't usually pay attention to hype levels on video games. And so I bought it thinking I was getting the Witcher style third person over the shoulder, just with, uh, guns
Yeah, instead
instead
of
of
being first
swords.
person. Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that kind of sent me for a loop. But here's my thing about Final Fantasy 16, man. If that thing comes out, bless them. And anytime a developer from this point forward says, "Hey, listen, we need another year," we better damn well give them that other year. Because the way that Yoshi P said it is he wants people who don't have access to the internet to not get an inferior product to people who do have access to the internet. And, like, Sure, that's marketing speak. I get it. That's trying to make themselves look inclusive and all this other stuff, especially after the bullshit statements they've made before regarding why there ain't no black people in Final Fantasy 16. That, like you, you can't say that and then try to act all inclusive. Well, folks without internet, that's kind of like black people. No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. You're still not inclusive, and that still was a low-key racist comment. Like you can't get out of that. Wait a second. Salty just said something, and we're gonna break for this. They said they're adding third person with the Oh, well, I know what game I'm playing next. Salty just said that they're adding third person expansion or third person view with the new expansion.
Oh, are they? Oh, so they're pulling the which I think they should. Same thing with what's it called?
Is that
Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evil? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I reminded me to re-download it because I went and bought the patch or whatever it was. They made you buy it, put a third person view on that, and I'd rather play those type of games in third person. And I think Cyberpunk will be great in third person too. So that's real good news. I'll be probably beating it a third time or whenever they bring that out.
That
Yeah,
is that's really oh shit, I just died. That is really good news. Because I want to play it. Everybody says it's an amazing game. Sorry. If y'all hear that, it's my dog who's like 12 years old and has allergies. Poor fella is trying to like choke on himself right now.
Oh yeah, I got my wife
But
running around loud as hell herself. So I don't
what's that you always say? Like, subscribe, don't like, don't subscribe, whatever. Like,
yeah, yeah. Like subscribe, don't like, don't subscribe. Do what you do.
speaking of that, guys, there's quite a few people in here now, comparatively speaking to when we first started. So I am going to shout out again. I am on here with King Thrash. That is at Do What You Do 6. And then that's on Twitter. And then he has a YouTube channel, which
No,
is.
no, 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 no,
No?
no. If they don't know my channel, they don't deserve to know.
That's fair.
They are here for you. If anything, subscribe to this guy. Don't subscribe to me. All right? I don't like you. You need to earn it. Earn your subscription to my channel. If you don't, they need to find me. You know what I'm saying? I don't go. Salty can tell you. He in the chat. He can tell you that I never promote my channel, man. I would rather promote. I'm here to promote and to support y'all, to support you, and that's what I'm here for. I don't never want to support my. I don't want ever want to tell somebody about my channel because if they don't know, then they don't deserve to know. They're under they're under the skill level that they need to be.
They
So no,
haven't even opened up the skill map yet. They're
no,
super
no,
low
no.
XP.
Yeah, no XP at all. They're in the prologue. You know the prologue, like when you're all powerful, and you haven't lost your powers yet to actually start the real game. That's where they are. They think they're powerful. They haven't lost all their abilities and skills and stuff that you lose in the prologue. Or not the prologue. The prologue, right? Yeah, it's the prologue. You lose all your powers. That's where they are. They're in the prologue stage where they have all their weapons that they're not going to get until the end of the game. Type deal. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit. So well, man. Anyways, I appreciate that, guys. I don't do this often on the main show, but hit that like button, subscribe, and we're actually going to continue because we have several more topics to get to, and it's been an hour and a half almost. And so here we go. So PlayStation released their essential lineup today, which was NBA 2K23, Jurassic World Evolution Part 2, and Trek to Yomi. And yesterday, or the day before, Game Pass released their games coming to Game Pass for the month of June. And I'm sitting here looking at this, and Salty posted to Twitter and said, "What do y'all think of this? Is it a L or is it a W?" And like I was going through, and I was like, "Well, I'll download NBA 2K. I'll play probably a couple hours, and I'll start a season with the Mavericks. And just like the Mavericks, I won't finish. And then after that, I will probably let my kid. He'll love Jurassic World Evolution. He used to. Hey, there you go, Byron. Start that skill tree." My son will start to play that. He played it on the phone The just because it's a phone game that then was upgraded and updated, and then they made a second one for the PlayStation. And so he'll play that, and then I'm gonna do a review on Trek to Yomi. So like, and that's a game that I ain't got to pay for now. So I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, that's a pretty good month. Like, got something for my kid,
Mm-hmm.
got something for
Mm-hmm.
me, and I got something to do a review on my channel for free. Well, as part of my subscription, but it's essentially free.
Right. Right. Right.
And so like, I'm sitting here thinking, that's not bad. And then I look back at the Game Pass list, and I was like, I only know what one of these titles even is. Like, that's it. So, my question to you, because Game Pass's lineup has been extremely lackluster over the last couple months at least. And you know what? We'll give it to them, even though the game was a horrible, heaping pile of crap. They did release a supposed AAA game last month in Redfall. The game was god awful, but they still released it, so I'm going to give them kudos in that. But outside of that, Game Pass has been very lackluster, and now you have an entire Game Pass lineup being beat by a PlayStation Essential lineup. We still don't know what games we're getting for PlayStation Extra or PlayStation Premium because that's going to be released here in 2 weeks. So, like, are they fueling up for something? Are they waiting till after the showcase? Are they, like, what's the, why are their games getting worse? Like, are they running out of shit to give? And now I'll let you talk because I want to know your opinion.
Oh no, I'm listening. No, I hear you. I don't know. I mean, well, I always had whenever we talked about Game Pass, we always talk, or even services, period, Game Pass, PS Plus, whatever. We know that most gamers look through tunnel vision, and like they would as if they bought these games. Like you bought the game, and the transaction is over, right? But with services, it doesn't work that way. That's not how the transaction works. When I say transactions, I mean as far as how the company actually makes money. And like you pay $70 for Street Fighter that's going to come out in a couple of days. That's it, right? As far as that, then you can buy extra characters or whatever. But $70 they already made money off of you, right? With Game Pass and other services, that's not how they make money. They make money off of longevity. They make money on how long they can keep you paying whatever price they're charging you per month, right? And on top of that, they need to keep content up, and so therefore they're going to have to pay out money to rent, right? Because we're basically renting from the renters. So Microsoft rents whatever, let's say Atomic Heart. They're renting Atomic Heart, and then they're giving you access to their rental and charging you for that access. And then when that rental time that they agreed on is over between people who made Atomic Heart and Microsoft, it'll be gone from Game Pass, right? So it's basically a long-term rental, and allowing Microsoft to let other people to loan it to other people per se for a price. So whenever you have a game that size or games that size, it's going to cost you a lot of money. In order for and so right now we're seeing a down point to where they just passed their fiscal year, um, so they don't really have to worry about making lines, right, making money, and they don't want to. In this case, with services, it's more your spend and what you get consistently on a yearly basis, not a daily basis or a monthly basis. Um, so it's all about maintaining those people. So the problem that's going on here is that Microsoft can only spend so much money. Phil Spencer has already come out and said that the growth has stopped on the Xbox itself. So because that growth has stopped, because Phil Spencer said, this is his words, he said, we've reached the point on Xbox to where anybody who has Game Pass. And if you're not going to get Game Pass, you're just not. Basically, he's given up on trying to sell to the people who aren't sold on Game Pass. Now, it's not really giving up. Sometimes that's just how it is. It's how business is. You get to a point to where you hit a line that you can't cross, and that's where you're in. And that line is going to fluctuate. That's why he said between 10 and 15%, right? Um, so the new focus is now on PC, and PC is about to get some big games. Starfield is going to be more of a PC game than a console game. I don't care what nobody says, right? And they're still growing in that section, in the PC sector. It's a bigger sector, a lot more gamers and all of that good stuff. So the focus, when you look at that list on Game Pass, there's list that list tells you how little incentive they have to getting new subscribers. These old subscribers, most of them have already forgotten that they're paying for this shit. I mean, that's just how subscriptions work. I don't think anybody in here can tell me when their next Netflix bill is due, right? Because you don't get it in the mail. The only time you get an email is if your payment doesn't go through. They design it for you to forget that you're paying for it. It's so small, it's like you don't really notice it coming out of your account or anything, because it's not more than $50. Anything more than $50, you're gonna be looking at it like, where'd this money go? But that's how it's made, and they know that Microsoft. A lot of guys, I even have Game Pass, and I didn't even know I had it. I thought I canceled it already, and I have Game Pass. I don't even need to buy Game Pass. I don't even know how I actually have it. I don't know when I got it, because my homie game shares it with me. So I've been game sharing with him, and then I'm just finding out that um, Game Pass is on my stuff. So that's just how that works, and they know that this show is coming up, and they know that they're about to have one of their games that they spend millions of dollars on, to be free. Well, basically free on Game Pass. So yeah, they're saving up for that. This is coming out in what, a couple of weeks, a week. Well, not coming out. I'm sorry. The show is coming out in a week, which is going to keep people subscribed to Game Pass and even probably getting more subscriptions, because it's more than just having games. It's also having trailers and shows and stuff like that to have people stay on your subscription service because you gave them a reason to stay. And it's just a money thing, bro. And people think that Microsoft is treating Starfield like a first party studio or a first party game, and they're not, as far as the money is going, because the money was already spent before Microsoft bought them. And in order for them to have Starfield on Game Pass and removed from other platforms, Microsoft had to pay Bethesda for that work. Period. They don't. There's got to be guaranteed money in that deal. So God knows how much they ended up getting paid for that, but they're getting paid a big, 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 big purse. Same thing with Redfall. Redfall, regardless of its failure and regardless of how trash it was, this game was published not by Microsoft but by ZeniMax and Bethesda before they were purchased, and so they had to pay them a pretty penny to have that on Xbox, on Game Pass, and away from PlayStation, because that got, basically you're telling them you can't buy a company and say, hey, we're gonna pay you less now because you're not on PlayStation no more. That's our choice, that we don't want you on PlayStation no more. But we bought the entire company, and so this product is going to fail purposely, and you're not going to get paid for this years of work that you put on this product. It's not going to work that way. They had to pay them, and but what reason why I bring that up is that's just showing how much money is actually being spent on services. This is why Sony says they will never do day and date on services, because it makes absolutely no sense, and it does make absolutely no sense. And Microsoft is the only service that's actually doing that, and it's starting to show. You're going to get less. The more games that are going to come out for Xbox from Microsoft, the less games you're going to see on Game Pass, and we're starting to get that. Like you said, Redfall just came out, so it's already started. Their $70 game era has already started. They had two games come out this year already, which is Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall, and no, three, and Minecraft. So that's three games already that they basically are going to lose money on, and they have more to come. We got, Starfield coming out again, so it's going to get worse. It's definitely going to get worse because it has to, in order to make money. Either that, or you raise the price of Game Pass significantly, which would then turn people away from subscribing to it in the first place. So your biggest selling point is going to be your first party games, and that's what it's going to have to be. And I believe that third party games are going to get worse and smaller and more unknown, because they don't want to spend the money on the things that they do that are bigger. I think the only one they actually do it now for is MLB The Show. I think MLB The Show is what they spend the most money on now. When they first got MLB The Show, the same year they got Outriders. That was the last time you really seen a full priced um, AAA game on Game Pass day and date, and that's what we're gonna get. That's what you're gonna see from especially from big publishers. That's what you're gonna see. You're never gonna see Activision game on there until they buy Activision. Or not well. I mean like Call of Duty stuff like that. So like I said, it's all money based, but it's all about making us buy and then forget that we have subscriptions. And the longer they make that last, the better. So it is what it is, man. I think it's a failing way to make money though. It's really failing. There ain't no way they can be making money.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Xbox sales, and there was the big post today that was on Twitter that pointed out the actual sales numbers, and of course it was VG charts, so we got to take this with a grain of salt, but Xbox X and S 21.67 million in the first 30 months. Xbox One 20.72, just a little less than a full million consoles worth of growth in the first 30 months. And PlayStation 5 is on brand right now to beat the PS4, and it's actually tracking better than the PS2, which was the best console out there. So one company is, Phil Spencer called it. He was like, hey, listen, I know these numbers are going to come out. We can't hide them much longer. We're not in the console space to win anymore. We're just not. And the growth is stagnant. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was gonna say yeah, I agree. But keep going.
The growth is stagnant. The Game Pass numbers are down, or at least not increasing a ton on the console market, and we're realizing this, and we just are accepting it. We're rolling over and playing dead in the console space, and so you have the tale of what I see as the tale of two companies. Now, I am not going to paint PlayStation as this big rosy freaking place to work right now because they've closed down two of their studios, merged one with another. They canceled a game that was being developed by a third party as an exclusive, and they just lost a the art director from Sony Santa Monica to Netflix. So like it's not like everything on our side, like our building is starting to get some cracks in it. The stucco's starting to get a little messed up. Roof might have a little bit of hail damage, but we're not imploding yet. and so
Right.
and
No, I,
so
oh my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so it's the tale of two companies, and we see that when it comes to Game Pass and then PlayStation Plus. I've said it before, PlayStation, if you want to know what's coming up at a showcase, all you have to do is go see their most recent sale, which is why the current showcase baffled me so much, because I was expecting Ghostbusters in VR. Well, Philip, why were you expecting that? Well, I was expecting that because the Ghostbusters video game was on sale for the first time in months on the PlayStation Network. I was expecting a Bloodborne remake, remaster, or a part 2. I was expecting something Bloodborne because when you pop up the Planet of the Discount sale, the first game to pop up is Bloodborne for $9.99. So, like, I expected a few things. And I expected that because Sony interlinks everything in their ecosystem to marketing. That's just what
Right.
they do.
Right.
And so when you have these games, so Ratchet and Clank came out on the PlayStation Plus Extra for the month of May, and everyone was like, "Oh man, finally we got Ratchet and Clank! We got Ratchet and Clank! This is awesome, wonderful." I was one of those people because I wasn't going to pay full price for it because there was another game that was coming out, and I don't know if you've seen any of my stuff. I have a hard line. I buy 3 new games a year unless somebody else buys me another one for Christmas or birthday or Father's Day.
I heard that.
And
That's what you
so
call. That's what you call financing right there, boy.
Well, the way I see it is I pay for PlayStation Premium, so that's $120 they're already getting from me. Combine that with all the games I buy on sale, and then combine that with the new titles, I'm spending about 700 to a grand a year on video games total.
Yeah. I mean, all
Uh,
you need is premium. If you're gonna get premium, you shouldn't buy any games. To be honest, unless you just need it. Unless it's a Final Fantasy 16 or something like that. Like you need it and you know it's not coming to PlayStation Premium. But PlayStation Premium, Game Pass, if you have those things, yeah, you should definitely be spending less money on actual games like that's coming out. Um, that's not going to be on those things on those platforms. So I feel you on that.
yeah, and so with Sony, I got Ratchet and Clank, and then all of a sudden, which wasn't announced at their showcase, which was super weird. Like they handled that showcase so poorly. They could have announced that Ratchet and Clank was coming to PC in July. Like I know that the backlash from the typical Sony fans would have been like, I can't believe you're showing a PC game or showing a port. But everyone else would have been like, oh, cool, we've had it for 2 years already. Awesome. Wonderful. And that's actually going to lead us into our next topic. The I see it, and it's not every single one of them, but PlayStation gamers, it seems, at least via YouTube and Twitter, which, granted, that's like the toilet bowl meets the sewage pipe, and
Big facts.
like that's what you're getting, right? You're getting the toilet bowl and the sewer, and you're supposed to form an opinion from a big pile of shit, and that's the hard thing to do. But you're getting these PlayStation fanboys like, man, I can't believe that it's coming to PC. I can't believe that they're gonna get our games and da da da. First of all, and actually, you know what? Before I give my take, I want to know yours. What's your thought on this? Is it all just like fake outrage, or is there something substantial here? Has Sony given us a reason to worry? What's your thought?
Oh man, mine is complicated. I think I think a lot of gamers are behind on PlayStation. They're behind on what they're doing. They're seeing what they're doing, and because it's not significant to what they are used to, if they brush it off. The show was trash. Sure, I totally agree. From what we saw, but I'm a gamer. Like I said earlier, I know that Minecraft is a great game, even though it makes me nauseated, even if every time I boot it up, like I could never play it. Right? Um, Sony in that show showed us what they bought or what they've been doing the past 2 years since the last show. Right? Everything that was like when I sat and thought about it, because once you have your initial reaction, and then I sat and I thought about it. I look at things and I try to figure things out. And from what I understood, from what I seen, is that this PlayStation showcase was a showcase of PlayStation, but it just showed everything new instead of everything that we already knew. Um, they made the promise of coming out with these games as service games. We as gamers should have believed them, right? Like they said they were going to make 10 games and service games by 2025. We are in 2023. They
It's
said they're going to have
12.
these launched by 2020. Was it 2012?
It
You
was
said what?
12.
Oh, 12. Oh, 12 games. My bad. 12 games by 2025. And we are in 2023. So we should have expected many service games. And that's exactly what we got. Many service games. And then on top of that, we got VR. So they had to add that. And then the movie trailer Gran Turismo really took me for I was just mad at that point. But then I also had to understand that that's also PlayStation Publishing. That's actually another arm of PlayStation. And in the past 2 years, they've had Uncharted launch, they've had The Last of Us launch, they've had and then they got Gran Turismo, and then they also announced God of War, Horizon, and Ghost of Tsushima having shows in the movies as well. So they're saying that PlayStation Studios or the PlayStation Showcase not even based on PlayStation Studios, it's everything PlayStation. And it was trash because all of the stuff that they're doing, this is what they're adding to the PlayStation. They're not taking away our games. None of the games that we wanted to see are canceled. None of the studios that we want to see games from or canceled. They didn't stop making these games. They're just not ready to show. So what they did show was things that they wanted to show, things that they felt we was going to be excited for because they are new. Haven Studios, that's a new studio they just bought. They bought them last year, and I think or early this year. They just bought them, and they're already showing us a trailer. It was CGI, yes, but what do we expect? They just bought them, and this game clearly isn't ready to be shown gameplay wise. But in comparison, Microsoft bought Compulsion Games 5 years ago, and we haven't seen a single trailer from them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Sony. They showed a lot. Bungie Studios. They showed Bungie's new game. Um, was it Fire Sprite, or I always get their name wrong? Firebird, whatever their name is.
It's
They
either
showed their game.
Firewalk or Fire Sprite, and I
Firewalk.
can't.
Yeah, one of those. But they showed their game as well, CGI and all. But yeah, it's CGI, but they're announcing their game. I think it was more of them showing us the results of the investments that they put in PlayStation in different and new arms. And we enjoyed the ride, bro. I enjoyed The Last of Us. You know what I'm saying? And there were channels that were doing whole reviews of it and everything. Gamers were showing that they were excited in The Last of Us. People were talking about The Last of Us every week whenever a new episode came out. So clearly, as gamers, we were hype about this. But what Sony's mismessaging is that they didn't show us what we're used to seeing. We want to see Wolverine. Don't give us just a CGI. We want to see Wolverine. Don't leave messages like Insomniac did, showing Sunset Overdrive the day before the show. You know what I'm saying? And then Sunset Overdrive ain't there. Or have Herman Host say he just left one of these studios and what he saw was inspiring, but then they didn't show anything from those studios that he was at, that he visited. So it's like they don't, their messaging is horrible. And forgive them, I guess they're all new. You got to be like Shuhei Yoshida or something. You got to be quiet. Like PlayStation is usually quiet. I don't know if they're trying to be like Microsoft and be loud and say things and show things and be more a part of the social media world or whatever. But it leaves mixed messaging because what you guys are saying on Twitter isn't matching up what you guys are actually showing us in the showcase. And that's bothersome. And then the homie Seeker told me one thing that actually made me think, and I'm gonna make a video on it, but the Q, the PlayStation Q, you know about that, right? The little handheld.
Oh yeah.
Um, well, it was leaked, right? That was leaked a long time ago, like probably 3-4 months ago. It was leaked, and the leak was spot on. And even when people leaked it, there was a picture of it, right? But it was like a homemade picture of it, how it would look, and it looked damn near identical to that, right? But when it was leaked, it was called the Q Lite, right? And if you think about it, what if there is a Vita that's just the light version, and they only showed it because it was leaked? You know what I'm saying? To make us think that there ain't an actual Vita. Because why call it Q Lite, right? And if you think about it, it's a handheld, but a light version of the handheld. It's just a controller in the screen. You know what I'm saying? And then if you look at the trailer of it, if you read the fine print says that like how it looks is subject to change and the specs are subject to change. And me and Supernova was like, why would you put that? Why even talk about this if it's nowhere close to being complete? And they talk about it's going to release this year. So with that thought, what me and Supernova had, and what Seeker told me the other day, makes me believe that they showed this because it was already leaked, and they don't want the whole thing to be leaked. But I believe now that there's actually a true handheld, and that's just the light version of it. You know what I'm saying? And they showed, the only reason why they showed it was to quell the leak that was had. Because why call it Q Lite? Like, why would you call it light? That means there's a heavy. That means whenever you call something light, that means that's the smaller version of it. That's the PlayStation. I mean, like the Nintendo Switch Lite. I think that was called Lite, ain't it?
It is.
I'm not sure. It is, huh? And that's the one that's not the full thing. It's not even doesn't even dock, right? It's just the fucking handheld. What if that's their light to their actual real handheld that they're coming out with? that's what's been going on in the background in my little circle, and what I've been researching it, man. I've been finding some crazy stuff that actually stands behind that theory. So that's I don't know how I segued over there, but I would just try. Well, basically, I want to hear what is your thoughts on that? Do you think that's possible? The fact that they called it the Q Lite and
I
it's
was
still
about to
Project
say,
Q.
we're
Go
gonna
ahead.
put, you apologize for segueing there, but we're gonna go ahead and pitch a tent right there and just kind of hang out here for a second because one of the things that I remember from that Oh No, It's Alex interview is you talked about how you drive a ton for work and you travel a ton for work. And so for somebody like you, the Q, even if it's just the Q Lite, I think that thing makes a ton of sense for people who travel a lot, who are going to be out, who maybe have an hour to kill at, if you're a trucker, you have an hour to kill at a rest stop. If you're a businessman, you have an hour or 2 hours to kill in the morning before you got to go to your conference or your meeting or whatever. I think it's going to make a lot of sense. And pricing is going to be my issue. But what you were talking about with it being called Q Lite, that makes a ton of sense. And I actually did spot the uh, where it says this is product concept, design is subject to change. Like I spotted that and I was like, okay, so if it's subject to change, why in the actual hell are you showing it right now? That's not how you do a product reveal, right? When they did the PS5
Exactly.
reveal,
Yeah.
it wasn't the dev kits that we were seeing that looked like something out of Star Trek. No, it looked like the entire fucking Star Trek SS Enterprise. Like it was it was this big
Facts.
huge thing that takes up way too much space on my entertainment center, and it looks like it's from like Star Wars or Star Trek from the future
Yeah.
coming to give
Yeah.
me these
Portal machine or
games.
something. Like you're gonna like this, like something's gonna come through a portal, like that's gonna like generate a portal or something. Like it looks crazy. But yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's but they didn't go, "Hey, this design is subject to change." No, they showed it off. They showed exactly what it was going to be. And with this one, I think dude, I didn't even think of that cuz that makes so much more sense. That
Yeah,
makes so
yeah.
much
It's the
more
only thing
sense.
that. Yeah, it's the only thing I can. Cause I was so pissed looking at it. I'm like, what the fuck? But I started thinking about it, and then like I said, me and Nova was talking about it. Then Secret came to me with this, and I'm like, God, why did not think of that? You know what I mean? Like they did call it the Q Light, and it's still called Project Q, right? Because he called it Project Q, and then all of these little clues, and it's like because it makes no sense just to make that. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense. But if you do one that is only remote play, and you charge a smaller price for that, think about how much a portable PS5 would actually cost. So you would need two SKUs, just like the PlayStation right now. The PlayStation 5 also has two SKUs. So I think that would, because to me it's dumb the way, if you're gonna go handheld, then go handheld. But if this is your light version and you actually have a more complete version that where you can actually take it handheld, or obviously you're going to be downloaded things. You know, you got memory and whatever. Even if it's not even PS5 games, it could be PS4 games and PS3 games or whatever. However, or its own thing in its own right, whatever. Um, it would make sense
Dude,
to
think about
that'll be the
this.
only thing that makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to add on to this running theory because I think it gains traction with the new system that all the leaks have been about, right? The new PlayStation with the external disk drive.
Uh huh.
What if the non-light version? What if you could take that external disk drive and if it does operate like a handheld PS5 or even a scaled back handheld PS5, if you can use that external disk drive and link it up to your handheld.
Yeah, but that'd be a big ass handheld.
I
and
mean,
and think about the battery life on that. That's why Nintendo never does um um discs, because it'll take up too much battery life. And the PSP had a battery life problem because it was disc. Um So I don't know, maybe. But but like if like you said though, like if because if that rumor is true about the Slim, that'll make it even more sense for it to come out at the same time with this Q. You know what I'm saying? And they could be connected in some ways to where the Q Lite or the Q, right? The actual Q can be the spec of a Xbox Series S, just portable. You know what I'm saying? Because we already have these ports. These games are now forced to cater to Xbox Series S. So if we're having a lesser version, look how small the Xbox Series S already is. So it's capable and it's diskless as well. I mean, shit, the thing could be if they can read if Sony, if anybody can redesign it, it'd be Sony. The Xbox Series S, all it needs is a screen and, and some built-in buttons, and it could be a portable Xbox. Well, not that size, but it's almost there. I don't know how. It's extremely small. It's a little bit bigger than a Switch. And if they can do that, I can guarantee you that Sony can do even better because they're a hardware company. And if they can make one of the same power as the Xbox Series S and call it a day, just portable. The Xbox Series S and the way those games look would be 1,000 times accessible. I mean, acceptable if that thing was a portable. I wouldn't complain over Halo being 720p, 60 frames per second, and the Xbox One X, the last generation console, actually having a higher resolution. It'll make sense because it's a portable. You know, so I mean, the more you think about it, the more you can actually kind of put it together. If Microsoft can make something that small, Sony, as a hardware company, can definitely make something smaller, add a screen to it, add some buttons to it, and have an SSD. SSDs are small. If you think about it, they're just expensive. And they're cheap now. So it's like, imagine being able to, instead of memory cards, you can just have people buy SSDs for your portable.
That's
That'd be
kind of
crazy.
what I was thinking, is
Yeah,
that SSD can fit easily
easily,
into a handheld.
easily, easily.
And if the
Very easy.
battery life is already being reported at 3 to 4 hours, then it would make sense if you're pushing
Yeah,
that hardware to the limit.
yeah. And then SSD is taking up less power anyway, because you don't have no machinery in it. You know what I'm saying? There's no inner disk reading things, and there's no machinery that you need to give power to. You know what I'm saying? So depending on how they design it, it's extremely possible. They'd be dumb not to do it. I hate to come up with ideas these companies don't come up with, but it could be a pricing issue.
So, so one of the guys in chat, Toolman, he had said a backwards compatible native DualSense tablet that could do, and I'm going to add that could do PS5 remote play. Could you imagine being able to play PS3 disc, PS2 disc, PS1 all on this tablet?
Bro, PS Vita, all the stuff that they got on extra, all of that stuff, all of that stuff you got on extra. I mean, of course it'd be compatible with. Damn, that makes even more sense now because you got premium and extra. Those have old games that you can download to your system, except the PS versions, the PS3 versions, which they can probably set up to make it to where you can download it to that as well. I don't know, but it'll definitely have a streaming ability on it, just like the Lite will. And man, if you think about it, it's just they'd be stupid not to. They have the content. They don't even need to put new games. This, like he said, make it a backwards compatible PS4, PS3, PS2, or everything that's on premium, everything that's on extra. You know what I'm saying? And then it won't even cost you more. Like it'll just give you incentive to get premium. What if they make it just premium? You know what I'm saying? Like what if it's like you don't buy no games, just everything that comes to PlayStation Premium will be playable on this in some way, shape, or form. That'd be a sale too. I pay an extra. I'll pay for premium if it's gonna if I could take all those 800 games in premium and it's gonna be on my handheld and I can go and download the majority of those and play them on the road. I definitely do that. Definitely without hesitation.
So let me ask you this: with the way it sits right now, Okay, with the landscape of it right now and what we know about it right now, without knowing price, let's just make up an arbitrary number. If it's 169 or 189 for just a handheld remote play device, are you day one on it?
No, on the remote play, no. No, not on the queue that they showed. No, I'm not getting it. I am definitely not getting that. And that's me. That's me as a thinking King Thrash. But I do have gamer sickness, and I told myself I wasn't buying an Xbox, and I'm looking at it right now, brand new, kind of, as no discs have ever been inserted into this console.
It's a virgin.
It's a virgin. Yeah, it's definitely it fits the Xbox criterion, and um, you know, so I'll probably still end up buying it, but if no, I'm not attracted to it at all. But if they had some, if they had it to where I can download these games, because I hate to be tethered to stuff. I just do. I hate being tethered to stuff because things happen. I don't want any problem. I just want to be able to boot my game up. That's it. If I can download games, I do it all day. I do it day one, no problem. I don't care what the price is. But if I have to remote play it, then I'm not attracted to that at all.
Okay, okay. See, I'm more of I did a whole like hour long like diatribe, and not diatribe, but a whole hour long like self debate, positive, negatives, all that stuff. And if it's 150 or under, I am a day one purchase on it with the earbuds. I don't care what the earbuds cost. I'm getting those. Uh, but with
Yeah, the
the
earbuds are solid. Yeah, they do.
right, I, I hate wearing big headsets, and it just bothers me that nobody has created a good option. Turtle Beach has Battle Buds, and Uh, Razer has something also that's kind of that same deal. Church was that's what he always did the podcast with, was his Battle Buds or his Razer, which was just a single in-ear mono speaker. But those type of things that can help me not have to have a big huge headset on, man, I'm all for those. But the Q Lite has me at least interested. I want more specs to come out. I want the final design to come out because right now I don't even know if my big freaking Shrek hands are gonna fit in the controllers because of how.
Fact.
I mean, dude, they're so close to the screen.
Yeah, I said that too. You see where the thumbsticks are? It's crazy. It's
It's
like, how are
so
you gonna
bad.
play that? That makes no sense.
But like if they spread it out a little bit or what have you, then maybe. But I'm probably a day one on it because well I'm a Sony idiot and I'm gonna buy it because it has Sony on it and I can't help myself. But
I heard
you
that.
mentioned gaming sickness, and I get that. I get that 100%. Because that's essentially why I had to cap myself on how many games a year I could buy. Because if not, I would buy them all.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I mean, I scroll through um, the browsing section almost every day, bro. Like it's like I don't know why. I bought like 3 games. I'm probably gonna buy 2 more as we speak, bro. Like just, and I play these games. That's why I got so many. 'Cause I play them. It's just that I just love gaming so much, bro. To where if I see something that interests me and it's at a good price, I'm on it. I'm on it, bro. Like it just is what it is with it. And I don't know. The gaming sickness is real, man. People, if you don't got gaming sickness, then I'm happy for you. But I definitely got it, man. Definitely got
It's bad. It's kind of like the clap. It goes away a little bit, but never fully.
it. Facts.
Okay, so we've kind of hit on everything tonight. Um, what do you think about the art director? Like just everything going on with PlayStation. Uh, what do you think's going on over there? Are they bleeding money? Are they like was the acquisition? rumor where they, not rumor, but they sold off 80% of their Sony financial to get $8 billion. Was that really set for acquisitions, or is that like they need operating capital in order to be able to continue to do the projects they're working on? Like it all seems very, it seems very Xbox right now. Like studios are closing, heads of studios are leaving. Like it seems very, very Xbox. We get a lackluster showcase, which the way you just presented the showcase, a little bit ago, I understand your perspective on it, and I think that's actually a really healthy and good perspective to have as a gamer. As a PlayStation fanboy, I still think it was dog shit. But the way you laid it out, they did give us everything. They showcased everything from PlayStation brands. They gave us some new tech. They gave us new live service games, which they already told us was coming. They gave us a movie trailer for a franchise that they helped make super popular. Or, sorry, they gave us a trailer from a movie based off of a franchise that they made super popular.
Right.
And, like, so kudos, decent showcase. I can give them that from the just the standpoint that it was a showcase and they set out and accomplished the goal of giving us a ton of stuff from the world of PlayStation. And then they, the third party games, we all know they're going to run better on PlayStation anyways, so they might as well show them first. But with all that, it feels like, man, I don't know, like something in my gut is telling me that by the end of this year or next, it's going to feel a whole lot like the PS3 generation. And I don't know why. I had a bad feeling about the showcase like an hour or two before it started. And I was talking to the Saltiest Gaming podcast crew, and I was like, guys, I don't feel right about this. Hey, real quick, Byron, we're trying not to pay attention to chat, but I can ask him. I know he's not watching. Thrash, Byron wants to know if you plan on getting AEW Fight Forever.
Mm, AEW? Oh, the wrestling game? No,
No. Okay.
no. I never bought the last wrestling game I bought was on the Nintendo 64. It was the best wrestling game of all time. I needed to not go further in my wrestling life.
Do you
It
not?
was
Do you watch
WCW
wrestling?
versus something. Not no more. I used to. I haven't watched wrestling since probably a little bit after The Rock left.
Okay, so
Long
sort of
time.
into the John Cena era.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once I saw John Cena doing the wavy hands and shit, I was like, yeah, I like John Cena though. I like John Cena, um, but I'm a classics guy, so I like the Stone Colds, the Goldbergs, the Hulk Hogan's, of course. That era of it. This new era, man, it didn't drag me in like it used to. It seems like worse. I think it seems like there's nobody like Macho Man Randy Savage, bro. It's just the way he talks shit is so calculated. Um, you see him doing it now, but it's more, I don't know. It doesn't grab me like it used to. The Undertaker is still my guy, one of my most favorite rappers, favorite wrestlers of all time. But those guys are either out of the game or old, and I don't know. I just can't get with this new generation of they feel like clones of the old generation.
Hey,
Like to me.
listen, I can go with that. John Cena, I have a little bit of respect for him because every single one of his promos, or let me rephrase that, he said he wrote down like two of them, but almost every single one of his in-ring promos where he's rapping and like dissing the guy in front of him or on the other side or whatever, all of that was straight off the top of his head. Like, so I'm gonna give him props for that because that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's skill. Yeah, that's skill. I mean, like I said, I like seeing him. I like him in the movies too. I like him. I like them in um what damn movie name? It just came out. The part two of Damn, with the villains that go up that basically all get together and help. Ah, I forgot his fucking name.
Oh, Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved him in that. You know what I'm saying? It was just funny watching him and Idris Elba go at it, competing with each other on how to on killing people. It was just. I think he's a great. I think he's a great actor. I think he's he's good at his craft. He's a likable guy. He's funny. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I like people who are diverse like that. And I just never got. I just like I said, man. I stopped after The Rock left. Early John Cena days, I was gone. That was it. That was it for me. It was anime all the way after that.
So, what do you think? Do you think I'm way off? Do you think I'm reading tea leaves wrong when it comes to the way Sony is kind of positioning themselves right now? Because it feels, to me, it feels very PS3, like it's about to get real dark. And maybe I'm just, maybe it's just PTSD on my part. But like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the way I look at it, to be honest, is at the end of the day, the end of the day, um, these things happen. People leave all the time. Amy Henning left Naughty Dog, and we felt the same way when she left, right? Um, People get new. If somebody offers you, at the end of the day, these are jobs. These are not people who belong to anyone. So I'm pretty sure Netflix offered them money that PlayStation couldn't offer them. And it's not the same as Xbox. Don't get it confused because the way I look at it, I look at it as a whole, right? I make documentaries, so I have to study this type of stuff. And what I'm seeing on Microsoft's side is that people are leaving before they complete a project. Like Microsoft is buying a studio, and people are leaving after a couple of months. I mean, the entire team, well, 90% of the team of the people who made State of Decay is gone, and their biggest guy just left. So who knows what's left there? And they have State of Decay 3 that's about to come out. When Microsoft bought them, they were just about to put out part 2, and after that they're gone. But then if you look at things like the initiative, they haven't even made a game, and 80% of those people are gone, and they haven't even made a game. That's more concerning than Sony shutting down a studio that put out games that those games weren't as successful, or they just closed them for whatever reason they closed them. At least they got the chance to show and do what they were trying to do. Now the third party thing about games being shut down in third party, for that third party game, there could have been several things about that because Sony is publishing the game, so they're putting money into it. And if they don't like what they see, I'm pretty sure they didn't just shut them down. I'm pretty sure that they haven't been liking what they've seen for the past 3 or 4 trips. You know, like, hey, fix this, hey, fix this, hey, fix this, and they just can't fix it. So it's just either this third party company is going to be delaying their game because it's not going to be at the standard that we want our games to be, or we're going to have to cut this the fuck out. Similar to Microsoft and Scalebound, it's arguments on what actually happened with that. But you know, at one point you had Platinum Games complaining about Microsoft, and then you had Microsoft complaining about Platinum Games, and then the game got shut down. Platinum Games is still complaining, but then after a year or so, Platinum said, "Oh, it was our fault." You know, so it's like we don't know what really happened there. What I believe actually happened is that Microsoft wanted Platinum Games to change the single player game into a multiplayer game, and they just couldn't hack it. They didn't have the skills or the staff to actually make a service game, and then put it on not just PlayStation, and not just Xbox One, but Xbox One X and PC. Like, remember, that's right when they announced that PC was every game from Xbox was going to go to PC. So they had to make a PC version as well. So I think it was just too much for that studio to take, and it took Sony and Nier to kind of bail them out, and Nintendo with Bayonetta to bail them out and get their company back on track because they was going to shut down after that. And I think that those are just different situations that look the same on the outside, but I believe that shutting down studios is normal. They shut down Sony Japan, for God's sake. Um, and that's a Japanese company. But if you look at Sony Japan's track record, they've been needing help for a while. From Software and Sony Japan worked on Bloodborne, and I'm pretty sure that it was the people at From Software who did the most work or whatever, who had the most ambition or did what they needed to do, be done. So I don't see it even on Xbox side. I'm more concerned about Xbox side because these people aren't putting out games before they leave. On PlayStation side, you see people who put out games who have been doing things for PlayStation for so long that the only thing that's going to drag them away from PlayStation is money. And if somebody like Netflix is willing to pay you more for you to have that same freedom that you have at PlayStation, I would leave too. You know what I'm saying? If somebody offered me to do the same job that I'm doing right now, and they offer me more money to do it, there's going to be a price on that. Like, yes, I'm out. Like I'll get paid more to do the same job. Oh, come on now. Yes, I'm out. And you're a big company that I know is going to be there that has the money to pay me. Yes, I'm going to do that. So I know it's a lot of bad news coming out at the same time, and that bad news should be looked at and taken and have concern behind it because whether we like it or not, we all invested in these consoles. Um, I don't see it as the same because just for the simple fact that these people are leaving Microsoft after, or I mean, before they even put out games. The Halo thing is one thing, but if you look at how bad Halo is, then people should have been fired before they leave. I think they probably is getting fired and just letting them say that they're leaving so they don't look too bad on their resume. But other things that are happening, the guy who made Hi-Fi Rush, their main guy, he left, and this is before the Hi-Fi. This is right after Hi-Fi Rush came out.
I was about to say,
Those
dude
type of
dropped
things I'm looking
Hi-Fi
for.
Rush and then bounced.
Bounced. Yes, he bounced as soon as he dropped it. That's concerning to me. Now, if that would happen to PlayStation, to where at Bungie, there's a guy who left Bungie already, right? And I don't know why that is. That is concerning. That's more concerning to me. But it wasn't like a whole team. But still, people have left, and maybe he just didn't like working for Sony. Maybe he didn't like the new structure, and he left. But like that guy who left Xbox when they made Hi-Fi Rush, he was the number one. He was their best guy there of all every studio that they have. He was the guy that had the most experience and the most trophies under his belt. On what the guy was fucking Resident Evil, for God's sake. He was the guy that you would pay to keep. You know what I'm saying? And to lose that fast off one game right when it launched is just more concerning to me than dude that left. Who was it that left? I mean, not who was it, but what company was it? Sony Santa Monica.
Yes.
He's been was it Sony Santa Monica,
Yes.
right? He's been there for years. He put out games. He just put out one of the most successful Sony Santa Monica, the most successful Sony Santa Monica game ever. So he's done things. He's accomplished things, and because these accomplishments, he got offered more money to go somewhere else, which he should. And if Sony couldn't pay him or refused to match that or didn't have the chance to match that, that's on Sony. That is Sony's fault. But the man deserves to be paid, so I stand behind him more than I stand behind Sony, because especially if Sony refused to pay this man after he was so successful for your company, so he deserves to get his money.
You know what? I like that. So I go very apocalyptic very quickly. So if I start reading the tea leaves and everything, because here's the deal, man. The PS3 era, I almost had an Xbox 360. Like it was so close. And then God of War 3 came out and I didn't give a shit anymore. Like
I
it
heard that.
was it was
It was
God
a
of War
classic too.
3. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to get rid of my PlayStation because that was when Square Soft and Enix had merged, and the games that they were putting out were absolute dog water. And so my main publisher that I loved on Sony for so long was giving me crap games, and it almost, and I see my buddies, dude, y'all coming over to play Halo? We can do a LAN party. We can do this. We can do that. Halo this, Halo that. Did you play Fable? Did you try this? Did you play the new Gears game? And I'm like, no, I don't really have games to play. And and then God of War 3 came out, and I was like, okay, this is what it is. This is why I stayed. And then you had the Uncharted series, then you had Last of Us, and then you had all the Ratchet and Clanks that came. Like everything started to fire, and it worked. It feels like to me this generation, if Sony doesn't get their head out of their ass, this generation has the potential to do the opposite of what the PS3 did. You know, the PS3 came in super slow and then got better. And I don't know, man. When I like I said, I go apocalyptic. I'm very, very cautious of brands because we've seen it our entire lives. Brands that we loved as children got too big for their own britches, and now you
Yep.
pay more money for less product. You pay more money for less quality. Shit. Let's take fast food. Just simple, basic trash fast food.
Right.
You used to could go get a hamburger for $2 and it was a decent sized burger and it was still just a regular old just hamburger. I'm sorry, 89 cents. Well, now the price of it is $1.40, which whatever. I don't eat fast food anymore cuz now I'm grown and I have adult money. But like you get a smaller patty and a smaller portion and they're making money hand over fist and you're like, "Wait, what am I paying for?" Because the price went up, but I got less. And so it just, man, when stuff like that starts happening, we see it with everything. Cell phones, you pay more, you get less. The innovation isn't there near as much as it used to be.
Exactly. Yeah. You're
So,
paying for a new camera, thousands of dollars for a new camera that's like a couple of pixels higher. You know. Yeah.
right, and it's more fragile than what came before it.
Much more. They're putting the glass on the backside of these things. Why? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, God damn, man. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what's going on.
And so it bothers me when I see it just seems like all of these things have happened kind of at once. And so it points a huge spotlight, in my opinion, on Sony. And more than that, it points a huge spotlight on Jim Ryan, uh, Herman Holtz, and Yoshida. Because you sit there and you watch these guys, and they're super quiet, they don't say much. And then the next thing we know, oh crap, studio closing, studio merging, studio closing, game getting the game that they've been funding is now not happening anymore. You have you have heads of your studios who were responsible for the art direction in your best franchise from that studio, or with regard to sales. And now you're sitting here and this guy's leaving. Well, what does that mean for an Atreus spinoff? What does that mean for God of War versus the Sun God Ra? Like, I don't know. But, like, what does it mean for the rest of the franchise? And now you're sitting here and it lets doubt creep in, right? And so, anyways, like, I go off on a tangent with that because it gets all of my conspiracy theory brain working. It's the reason why I can't dive too far into like anything political because I'll start connecting dots that might not or might need to be connected, and you don't know which one's which. So it's
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. I mean, you really got. Well, I understand. I get the concern. I do, but games are made by more than just one person, and as significant as his role is, there are other people who have the same skills as he does. And it all depends. Maybe it will. Maybe there won't be a spinoff of Atreus. Maybe they will. I don't know. We don't know. But we saw change happen, even with God of War. We saw God of War be one game, and now it's a totally other game. To where, if you remove Kratos from God of War that Ragnarok and 2018 one, if you remove Kratos and replace him with anyone, it could be a woman, anybody, you would have never known that was a God of War game. You know what I'm saying? So change can be good. If you want to trust, if you trust anybody, it should be Nintendo and PlayStation. They are the main ones who are creative enough to make things work when big change happens. and we saw it happen with David Jaffe when he left God of War. You know what I'm saying? And we saw it happen with Amy Hennig when she left. We saw all of their studios that they've had. Because even look at Horizon. Look at Herman Holtz doesn't work for them no more. You know what I'm saying? He's the boss now. And so he's not part of Gorilla no more. He runs Gorilla. He's the boss of Gorilla. So um, these things can happen. These things will happen, and they will continue to happen because that's just how the business is. Business has always been this way. And if God of War dies because of it, that'd be sad, extremely sad. But I also trust that PlayStation knows, only because they've proven it, not because I love PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Only because they've been there and they've proven that they know what it takes to give us the things that we want. And the only thing that we're seeing right now, because all this bad news and all this stuff happening, is that they're trying to do the same thing for a market that they currently don't have. The games as a service market, the multiplayer market, is a market that Sony has always had its weakness in, even though they have more multiplayer games than everyone else. When it comes to games as a service, that is a market that they were not able to touch. And whether we like it or not, is the highest grossing market um, in gaming. Is this the games as a service market? It's extremely hard to get into, but Sony is looking like, hey, we wouldn't be a gaming company if we didn't at least try. I believe they will fail. I don't believe there's going to be a replacement for Fortnite and Apex, CS:GO, and all these games that people move on to, because gamers in that market don't leave games. They stay with them. CS:GO's been going on for God knows how long. Um, Fortnite's been going on for God knows how long. Well, how many was it? 10 years now? How many seasons did it have? Apex and all that. They're all gonna have their people, and you're gonna have people who come from one thing and go to another. But I don't see Sony being making a. I don't see Marathon being that game that's gonna take out Destiny or Fortnite. I just don't see it happening. Fortnite basically took the people from PUBG, and people from PUBG are playing Fortnite. Plus, Fortnite gathered all type of other people simply because Fortnite is infinite, meaning they can literally put a new dance in there and people will go in there and buy it. They'll no matter what's going on and popular in the world, they can take a character and put it in their game. Dragon Ball Z came out, Super, whatever, they put Dragon Ball Z in there. Thanos was over there killing people at the time that Marvel was doing the Thanos thing. Thanos was in the game. LeBron James win a championship. LeBron James in the game. Will Smith got cheated on by his wife. Will Smith is in the game. You know, just they they have it to where they don't need creativity. All they have to do is look at current events and make the character in that current event in their game. So I don't see nobody beating that, and it's going to be extremely hard to beat that. But I don't know. It's just not for us. I said this before. I said it before with Xbox and when they bought Minecraft, and people were wondering why the hell did they buy Minecraft. And I said, if you don't understand what a company is doing, it's because they're not doing it for you. They're not aiming it at you. You're not supposed to understand because they're not worried about you right now. And that's what's going on with Sony. We don't get this showcase that we just saw because that showcase was not aimed at us. It wasn't called the hardcore PlayStation gamer first party showcase. It was called a PlayStation showcase. And that showcase was not based on us. And all the things that are happening are just things that happen in business, regardless, in terms of people leaving. So I think all of this is just happening at one time. And we're going to have to see how good or bad it is. Because if Sony goes all in on games as a service, I will be playing my Nintendo more than I'll be playing my motherfucking my PlayStation. Just period. And that's where we're at, man. We just gonna have to sit, wait, and speak with our wallets, you know, period. And do what we've been doing. I think a lot of people have made their message clear, and I'm pretty sure that Sony has heard it, that we didn't enjoy what we saw, and I see more of that than I see new people saying, "Hey, I want a PlayStation now because they got games as a service." I haven't seen that market get any better or any type of attention from this move that they made with these games as a service games. Have you seen anybody say, "Hey, I'm gonna get a PlayStation now because Marathon looks crazy and I want games as a service game. I'm going to leave CS:GO for that." Like, it's let them fail, so they know not to do it.
No, what I've seen is uh, I'm gonna get the I'm gonna get the samurai game. What the fuck was it? Phantom Zero, Phantom Blade Zero. There we
Exactly.
go. I'm gonna get
Exactly.
that, and then I'm gonna try Marathon, or I'm gonna
Yes.
try Fair Games. Like those two
Yes.
games look fun, but one's an extraction shooter, which I'm not really a fan of, and the other one is because it says shooter in the title, and I'm just not a fan. But the other one is a fair game. The fair games one is like a heist setup, and like teams of 4, teams of 3, going against other teams of 3 to accomplish this goal, get this MacGuffin, do whatever you got to do. Like that actually sounds kind of fun because you're working together with a group, which is what I love to do in multiplayer,
Yeah.
and you are also working against everybody else, which is what you love to do in multiplayer. So it sounds like
Yeah.
they're trying to capture both markets. So it sounds good. But anyways, we have been at this now for 2 hours and 20 minutes. We are going to go ahead and call it a night. I have one last question for you, and it's a pretty easy one. What game of 2023, for the latter half of it, are you looking forward to the most?
Probably Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 16. Spider-Man is up there. It's a close second, but I'm an RPG guy. So Final Fantasy is about to come out in a couple of weeks, and that is going to be the game that I play the most this year, more than likely. It'll be that.
You're shitting me.
Yeah. Why?
I didn't
No?
think you were that into RPGs,
Oh man, go look at my game list, bro. Go
especially
look at my.
JRPGs.
You said Final Fantasy 10 is your game, right?
It
It's
is.
also mine, bro. I grew up with Titus. I dodged lightning 100 times in a row to get the legendary sword off.
No, you
Like I'm an
freaking
RPG
didn't.
guy. Yes, I did.
Nobody dodged lightning 100 times in the.
I dodged lightning 100 times, bro. That's the patience I used to have back then. I dodged lightning 100 times. I got almost all of their legendary weapons, and
Did
I
you ever
dodged
get
lightning
100%
100 times.
completion?
No.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't even like that. I mean, it was back in the PS2 days, so I didn't know what kind of completion. Oh no, I think it did have numbers for the completion. No, I never got 100% completion. I did beat the game. I smacked on Sin. You know what I'm saying? I saw Titus become, you know, the Titus that he has become. The was he a dream? Wasn't he or something like that? Or he wasn't even real? Or some
Ish.
shit? Man, I need to
It-
play. I actually haven't played X2, but I know X2 was supposed to explain more of that, but. No, I loved. That was actually my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy X. Then Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 7 remake. I love those. Final Fantasy 8. Never got fully into Final Fantasy 9. I hope they do a remake of that for me to get fully into it. But Final Fantasy 10 was my shit. I hated 11 because I didn't like online shit. Uh, and then 12 was okay. It was okay. I didn't like the battle system, but it was cool. It was just a new type of battle system. Um, and then 13, I'm actually playing. I was actually playing yesterday on my PS3. 13 too. So, no, I'm a RPG guy through and through, bro. Persona 5, my favorite last generation all time. Other than no, actually, Tales of Arise and Persona 5 was kind of, you know, my two favorites. I'm an RPG guy for sure. So,
so,
shit, all day.
so you left me a little stunned. I wasn't expecting that at all. Because you just went through my timeline of Final Fantasy games. 7 was amazing. 8 was awesome. 9, I've played like the first 20 hours of it like 4 times, and I just can't with that game. 10, I've actually beaten it. 1, 2, PS2, PS3 HD collection, and then PS4. I'm going through my third time in it right now. because I've gotten 99% on my second run through, and I missed a little mogul guy at the very beginning when you're going to your first blitzball tournament. There's a guy in a mogul mascot that you're supposed to talk to, and that gives you 1% story completion. And so that's the 1% I'm missing, which gives you the perfect ending, which is why I said I already know what it is, but I actually want to get it for myself, because it leaves a pretty decent doubt that Titus is still alive. And so it makes the second one better. And I'm going to say this. Go into the second one expecting... It was a cash grab is all it was. Sony, not Sony, Square Enix, they needed money. And they already had all the assets done. They already had everything finished for Final Fantasy X. So they added a new character, which means they only had to make one more character model. Right. They didn't add other playable characters. Instead, they gave you a job system, which is a callback to their older games. And it's really good. The story is think Final Fantasy 15, but in a girl band form. So
that's what it felt like. Because they were in an airplane, they were in a ship, right? They were like flying around the ship and everything.
Yeah, they're in a ship, and they all sing. They're like a pop music group. And so it sucks. Yeah, but the battle system is really, really good, and you can set it up to where you can just mow through dang near everything. But Tales of Arise was actually the first video game I did a review on, and it was also the first Tales of game that I had ever played. And really? So that whole the whole story in that, the slaves, the racial disparities, it was like you were watching a video game commentary on the world today. And it was so good, because I never felt like I was being preached to either.
Right. No, it was just like they put you in the story directly. And every character was so solid. Kisara? Once you get to Kisara, that's like one of the best female characters I have ever seen, bro, in an RPG. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I was a big fan of Kisara, man, because she was like the mom. She was like older than him, and she was like the mom, gorgeous as hell, but she was always kind of scolding him, but not scolding him. Like she literally like took the lead of the whole band. You know what I'm saying? As far as the story goes and how she spoke to him, and the little Tanya, you talk to him on the side and all that. It's just the way they put it together, man. It was just that's a game that I suggested to a lot of people. So like, if you don't know Tales of game, this is not like the rest of the Tales of game. This is so upgraded, and the battle system and everything, the story, the characters are so perfect that you have to play this game. To me, it was my game of the year. It should have won Game of the Year that year. I was mad that it got RPG of the year. I'm like, this should have been up there as at least a nominee for Game of the Year, because to me, it was just that good. It just had the music, bro, like how they changed the intro mid-game. You know what I mean? How the whole intro, it's just so much love and care put into the game that it was just, to me, disrespectful not to have them up for Game of the Year. Just the fact that you can tell the people who made this game loved this game. They loved every minute of it. It wasn't about money. It was about giving out the story and making this game as good as it is. I don't know, man. To me, like I said, I'm an RPG guy, bro. I can go all day.
So the thing I loved about Tales of Arise, you mentioned that the intro changes halfway through, and it's really interesting because you don't even know the name of your main character. Like halfway through the game, I think you finally, like, some stuff happens. I recommend everybody go play it. There's like several plot twists. There's stuff that takes you from like one setting where like you've been the whole time, And then close
Yeah.
towards the end, all of a sudden, you're in like a completely different setting. And like, I don't want to say much more because I want people to experience it for themselves, but like that level of holy crap, this
Yeah,
is where
man.
we're going. This is what I have to, this is why everyone was enslaved. Everybody, just for once again, it's a commentary on what's going on, but everyone was enslaved for resources. Like
It's crazy.
that's why. And
It's
so
just nuts, bro. Like, but it's so close to the real world that it's crazy. That's what man.
it and once again, I never felt like I was getting preached to. Like if you look at Final Fantasy VII, RPGs have always had a great way of tackling popular issues or issues that the populace needs to be concerned about in a way that doesn't feel preachy. Like Final Fantasy VII, you were the group Avalanche, and I can spoil this all day long because everybody should
Right.
have played this already. But like you're the eco-terrorist group Avalanche who's mad because the big corporations are sucking the planet dry, and so you're trying to fight against that to preserve the planet that you love and live in before it becomes unlivable. Like that's that's pertinent to like today. That was pertinent back then. You had companies that were taking all of this and soaking up these resources, and they're still doing it. Think about all the data mining that goes on. Think about all the stuff that's happening now with all that crap, Bitcoin and shit like that, where they have to like data mine all this stuff to build these servers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy. And Tales of Arise did it in such a good way. And I think Shion is next to Tifa the best done female character in a
Uh-huh.
video game.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
in a Japanese video game.
Oh, definitely. I mean, um, I know Sion is the main character, right? Well, basically
She's
the
the female.
co-main character. Yeah, the female main character. And the way they made that dynamic itself about how nobody can touch her, but then he can't
Ah,
feel pain. It's just genius shit if you think about it, bro. It's like, man, they thought this shit through and through, man. It's crazy because she's all gorgeous, beautiful, but can't nobody touch her. And that's part of her mental anguish is that she can't be touched by anyone. But then she finds this slave that can touch anyone simply because he can't feel pain, and then he starts to be able to feel pain. Oh my bad, I'm giving stuff away. Let me be quiet. Let
yeah,
me
yeah.
leave it
I
alone.
was like, oh god, hold on. You just jumped to two
My
thirds of
bad.
the way through the game.
My bad, bro. I just I love these games so much, man. This is why I don't know, man. That's why I do YouTube and stuff too, man. I don't do it for money and subs. I just love video games, and I just hate seeing people lie about video games. And people look at me like I'm some bad guy for telling the truth. I mean, there's something wrong with Xbox. You can't deny that. Why are we denying this? Why are we fighting to make it okay to be bad? Like, why? What are we doing? Same thing with Sony. Like, we see something happen bad with Sony. Why pretend? Um, if we love gaming so much, well, I guess if people love gaming as much as I love gaming, then you're going to want to see the best out of gaming. And I think gaming is best. It's either Xbox leaves or becomes the Xbox that it was, to where it's actually giving us and focused on giving us some of the best games we ever played, or at least trying to do that. Um, not trying to squeeze us for every penny that we got, but trying to give us the best games. And I only see Japanese developers now doing that. I see a lot of Western developers have moved on to trying to squeeze every penny out of gamers while doing the least work. And I see Japanese companies and Chinese companies, for that matter. I mean, Phantom Blade Zero, for example, are trying to wow us and give us experiences, no matter the cost. And I think we need that, and that's why I say we should be paying $70 per game, if especially if they're trying hard to give us experiences that we deserve, not charging us $70 and giving us a game that you don't give a fuck about, like a Redfall. Um, but I believe that we should be paying for games in some way, shape, or form. Stop trying to get over on gaming and push gaming forward so we can continue to have these great experiences that we had. Because right now, they're dying. Great experiences are dying as far as experiences like Tales of Arise. It's becoming more and more rare. Um, and I don't know. I see Japanese companies still trying to do it, but I see American companies. Look at Assassin's Creed. They
I'd
literally
rather
threw
not.
away that experience. And I mean, they're trying to get it back now, I guess. But they really, once I played Assassin's Creed and I found out that I can't assassinate people unless I'm at a certain number level. So even if they're asleep and I stab them in their neck as a professional assassin, I cannot kill them because they're level 15 and I'm level 14. I had to turn it off, bro, because that's not what Assassin's Creed used to be. Assassin's Creed used to be I can walk in the crowd and kill anybody. You know what I'm saying? And just walk away. They never know who killed them. You know, that's Assassin's Creed. Killing people where it's not based on levels and if you sneak up on somebody, you can kill them with one blow. That is an assassin. And because they went for the money, they ruined that whole franchise. And I don't know, man. I'm just saddened by it because a lot of people don't see this type of shit. I mean, type of stuff.
So, so you're talking about, excuse me, you're talking about developers and actually caring about stuff and how the Japanese developers seem to take more pride and more care in their stuff. And, one of the guys in chat mentioned that he had just purchased Scarlet Nexus, and that game has one of the coolest and most intriguing stories because you're confused the entire damn time you play.
Facts.
And if you
But
don't,
it's it's creative as hell too, though.
it's so good.
My bad. But finish.
If you don't take that, like, because there's an anime that came out with it, that chapter one of
Right.
the anime correlates to chapter one of the game. And so, like, I would play chapter one, then I would go watch the chapter one anime, and it would fill in little missing bits and pieces here and there. And there's codes that you get, and, anyways, they kind of tie everything in together. And that just shows the level of care that was put into that. Like, there were times in the story I was like, wait, whoa, 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 why are we? So in the very beginning, you have to go meet with the colonel after you fight monsters that you weren't supposed to fight. Give me just a sec. Sorry
Hey,
about
give him
that.
a. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just a sec. I had to clear my throat. So you have to go see the colonel, and then the next thing you know, like you don't go talk to the colonel, you don't get in trouble, there's nothing that happens to you, and you just move on. And I was like, wait a minute, that's weird. But they kind of explain that in the chapter one anime. Okay, cool. And so like they interwove everything. And then the battle system in it where you can, if you're in my party and your element is lightning, I can push a button, steal your, not steal, borrow your element for a short time, and now I'm doing lightning damage. Or
Yeah.
now I'm doing fire, now I'm doing psychic or teleporter, speed up, slow down. Like, there's so
Disappear.
many.
All that.
Yeah, you can disappear. You can. Wasn't one of them like they shrunk the enemy or they shrunk you? Like, there were so many different things in that game that you could do and different ways you could play it. And sure, there were only like 6 or 7 different enemy variations. Like, it was, hey, this one is a blue one, this one's a red one,
Yeah.
this one's a green one. Like,
Yeah. That's plenty of it. And it was so creative how like they literally did off potted plants or some shit. You know what I mean? Just
dude, one of them
but
was
still they
like
only
the
had 5 or
legs
6.
of a woman set up in the like in like a velociraptor form with the top part being a plant. Like, it was just off the wall stuff from left or from right to left, left to right. The whole game is weird. You go to this thing where like you fast travel to the future and then you come back to the present. Now the present's all screwed up because of the future. The guy in the I played the girl main story, so
Yeah, I did the guy.
okay, cool. So you got it from the other perspective.
Yeah.
And so it's so well done. And the game was like for $50, I think, when it came out. Like,
Yep.
that is a game that should have been purchased day one by everybody. But because you had Tales of Arise and Scarlet Nexus that released so close to each other, they ended up cannibalizing. Tales of Arise cannibalized Scarlet Nexus's sales. That's why Scarlet Nexus goes on sale for $15, $9. It's in the
Yep.
PlayStation Plus store, or it's
Yeah,
in
it went to Game Pass as well too.
that's what I
Like
meant.
after the
It's
fact.
in
Yeah.
Game Pass and Plus Extra, and it's all there. But like, I love JRPGs. Right now, I'm playing through oh crud, Trails from Zero. I am playing through. I got a game
What's
called
that one?
God
That's on.
Eater.
Oh God! Oh, you getting a God Eater?
I got God Eater 2 for like $15, and I'm gonna try it.
Mm-hmm. It's like a boss rush. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
It sounds like Monster Hunter before it became multiplayer.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly how you can put it. Yeah. It's something like it's good though. It's not bad. It's real good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, good pickups. Good pickups.
Like
I'm
there's
playing
there's
Valkyrie Profile.
oh, how's that?
It's good. It's the PS1 version. I beat the new one, the Valkyrie Elysium. I beat that one already. That was real good. And they had beautiful characters in that too. The Black Valkyrie, she was bomb. She was fire low key. Um, but Valkyrie Profile is the PS1 one that they came out with a remaster for that. So I just started that and I'm starting to play that, which is still good. I played it back in the PS1 days too. Still good. Still got a deep. It doesn't seem like it's deep, but it has a deep combat system. It's good. I suggested to. It's on sale. I think it's on sale. It just went off of sale. One or the other.
Yeah, I think it was like
And
11.99.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I just bought Kyle the kangaroo and Aztec. I seen Aztec such a long time ago, and I always wanted it. And it came out. I forgot that it came out. I'm like, oh man, let me get this. It's on sale too. Also, what's that game? After Us, man. That's a game that was in the one of the PlayStation the showcases, not the showcases, but the state of play. And it opened. It turned a lot of eyes. It looks just like Journey, and it's like they like sneak dropped it. I didn't even know they dropped it. It came out like last week. It's called After Us. It's just like Journey, just like it looks just like Journey. It's like a little kid though with white hair, and it moves and plays just like Journey.
That's that
Yeah,
one
that
with
came out.
the elk, the big ass deer looking thing.
Yeah, yeah. There's different animals that he saves and shit. Like you get this, it's a dog, it's a wolf, it's the elk, it's a whale. It's all kind of animals that you say on there.
See, and
You
that's
know what
that
I'm saying?
bullshit. Why didn't they tell us that?
I don't know. I don't. When I saw it, I'm like, this can't be the same. They just announced this. When did this come out? It just came out, and barely anybody. I have like 1,000, almost 1,000 people on my shit, and only one person has it. And I guess because they just didn't market it, but it's not Sony's fault. It's the people who made After Us fault. They didn't really. There was no launch trailer. There was no nothing. I didn't even know it came out. I got it. I've been playing it for hours. I played it. I've been playing it. I'm on like the third biome now. And that's pretty all. It's okay. It's not better than Journey, but it still has that feeling of Journey. It's good. It's interesting. You can tell with the story. Like they tell you the story without telling you the story type deal. It's good. Graphically, it's nice. No, it's and it came out. I'm saying like so many games come out without actually being publicized properly because we're too busy talking about how bad the Sony show was, or we're talking about how good like Project Zero. You know, Project Zero. I mean, Phantom Blade Zero is actually a prequel, right?
To what?
You heard about that? To to Phantom Blade. It's actually a cell phone game that's out right now. Um, but it doesn't look nothing like this. I mean, I'm trying to understand how they made this leap because it's like a side scroller cell phone game. I would play it if they put it on PlayStation. I would play it. Honestly, it's not a bad looking game, but it's like a 2D almost game, like a I don't know what game to describe it as, but it's real good. It looks real good. has all the combat and all that stuff, but it's just not 3D. It doesn't look graphically like it's kicking ass or something on graphics. But yeah, that's actually a prequel to that game. And like I said, people don't know. I was gonna make a video on it too, like how it's actually a prequel. And I think they have like 3 games, but nobody's heard of this studio before. And I don't know how they're making this game. I don't know who I was talking to, but we were talking about these Chinese games. And I know you got to go, my bad. But we were talking about these Chinese games and how they look wonderful, but they're not coming out. Like Lost Soul aside, looks wonderful, not coming out. That Wukong, that one game looks incredible, but it has not come out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the only ones we've seen come out is Tales of Fairy, and those look good as they're out, but it's just, I don't know how bad it is or how hard it is to get games out. But man, some of these games have been announced years ago and shown gameplay years ago, and we have seen nothing from them. But yet we have After Us dropping without even telling us. So I don't know, man.
Well,
Gaming
and
is
there were
crazy right now.
demos that um, not demos. There was a VR game that dropped, right? Like there was the Beat Saber that dropped that day.
Yeah.
And Josh Ayers in chat just said Fist, Forged in Shadow Touch, or sorry, Forged in Shadow's Torch was made by the same people, which is another side-scrolling Metroidvania, which is what this I just looked it up. The game was originally on Steam. It's a Phantom Blade Executioner. And it's a side-scroller Metroidvania style game. And Fist is Fist is awesome. If you haven't played Fist,
they made Fist?
Yeah, they made Fist.
Really? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, with the rabbit game. Yeah. Yeah. The rabbit dude with the rabbit, the combos, like combo-based Metroidvania game, right?
Yeah. It's super good.
Yeah, I have too many games.
You do, but you also have a ton of trophies to match.
Oh yeah. I play my games. I buy. Like I said, I buy them. I have a lot in my backlog, but I would definitely go and play them. I keep telling myself to stop buying games because I'm gonna die before I beat any of these games. So I need to start playing these games so I don't have a backlog of games that I just never even touched before. But I have a lot of games. I like gaming, bro. Like I don't understand why that's hard for some people, man. I like gaming, dog. I mean, what am I supposed to do? This is what I do.
So here's the interesting thing, and this is not to like bolster you at all, but because while you're doing your videos, I'm usually screaming at your videos, especially the ones where folks try to like trap you in bullshit arguments, like the one that happened over Forspoken, or the one that happened over Elden Ring, or Dark Souls, or you don't actually play games to completion, or you don't do... My guy, and I'm just going to say it, like, you have platinums. You have exactly 69 platinums more than me. You have a metric F ton of trophies, like, in general. And, like, I don't understand what people are freaking talking about. They're like, oh, this dude doesn't play his games. Like, you got...
Crazy.
You got so much stuff on here.
Yeah, they look at true trophies and they think the only reason why people look at trophies is because of me. I started the whole trophy thing, and people made it seem like I was only attacking Xbox fans, and I'm like, bro, I made 2 videos, one for all the PlayStation dudes, one for all the Xbox dudes. But when I did the Xbox dudes, I did theirs first, and at the end, I spent the most time going over my trophies and the things that I did and didn't complete. You know what I'm saying? It was just, I call it the I don't know if you see it. I call it I forgot what they call it. Do they game? I think I called it something like that. And now everybody wants to look up trophies. So now everybody tries to reverse that on me, telling me that I don't play games, and they don't realize that those websites don't tell you how many games you beat. It tells you how many games you platinum. So when it says completed games, that's the percentage of games that you platinumed in comparison to the games that you have, not in comparison to the games that you beat, because there is no way to tell what trophy depicts what game you beat. Sometimes you get a gold trophy, sometimes you get a bronze trophy. And Alex brought up that mistaken. I think it was Devil May Cry, and he was like, "You don't have no gold trophy here, because when you beat the game, you don't get a gold trophy. Not every game gives you a golden trophy when you beat them. Not every game has a platinum when you complete them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it goes to show just how little they know about gaming, and it just to me, if any real gamer who's been gaming for years can tell, and like you said, will be screaming at the screen, because it's like, bro, like, at the end of the day, you can't blame them, because people like Alex aren't really PlayStation gamers. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been gaming as long as me. They couldn't even have a conversation like we're having today about gaming, because their whole agenda is to make me look bad, I guess. And it's impossible to make me look bad in gaming, because I don't lie about gaming. If I was lying, I would say, yeah, I love Diablo. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing Diablo. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell you the truth. Like, look, I haven't. Me and Diablo ain't really been getting along. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't really played it, so I'm not gonna say anything to try to fit into what you play. I'm gonna tell you the truth about me. You're gonna tell me the truth about you. There's nothing wrong with me not um, playing Diablo like that. But there's something great in you telling me, hey, no, start here. This one's trash. Try this one first. This is the one that's going to really get you in there. And I'm guaranteeing you that I'm going to go and buy it and try it, because I'm a gamer and I like gaming experiences. And people like that aren't into gaming and gaming experiences. They're just into getting ad revenue for the channel, getting super chats and stuff like that. And that's what's wrong with the gaming quote unquote community, is that we have a lot of people who aren't truly part of the gaming community. They're more part of the social media community that acts like they play games. And there's a difference in that. And that's why we see what we see. And that's why we hear what we hear, the crazy things that we hear. People talking about the CMA more than they're talking about the Xbox show. That should let you know just how bad it really is. If you're really excited about Xbox, then you should be talking about what you believe is going to come. But then a lot of people are scared to talk about that, because they don't want to predict something that to come, and then now they're going to have to say something bad about Xbox. And it's like, bro, we predicted things to come for PlayStation, and they didn't come. And so we're talking bad about PlayStation because we're customers, bro. You know? We are supposed to talk bad about these companies, because if they don't give us what we want, what are we supposed to do? Are you more willing to go to McDonald's and buy cold fries and complain to that company about them cold fries than you are about a $70 game? So you complain about a $1 thing of fries more than you would complain about a $70 game? How does that make sense? So I don't know, man. I think people just need to maintain that they are customers, and that these customers, I mean, these companies see us as customers. They are salesmen selling us a product, and we need to maintain that we are customers. Yes, we are gamers, and yes, we enjoy games, but we are also customers. We are spending money on these games, and these companies give us a promise of SSD and 12 teraflops of power and the biggest worlds and the greatest gaming experiences, and we buy consoles based on these things. And if they don't deliver that, then they need to hear from us, or they will continue to do it. And it's just so much. It's just so bad out here, bro. But it's mainly due to these fake gamers, and that's where the whole. I always segue into shit, but that's how the whole thing with the whole trophies and all of that stuff gets started. It's because I started that trend of talking about trophies, and people think that they can, I don't know, make me look bad in the way that they can't. And that's the one way that you can't make me look bad, is talking about video games and playing video games, because I actually play my games and enjoy them.
So, what's really interesting is when somebody has to, how do I put this? When somebody has to basically take something that you've said and make it a hard and fast to use to trap you, right? Let's say I love, God of War Ragnarok. It is literally the only platinum trophy I have for a couple reasons. One, there wasn't a lot of bullcrap tied to getting it. Two, the combat was the main way you got it, because you had to beat all the trials at the fireplace Muspelheim,
Right.
and those trials were just fun. They were awesome. They were hard. I never felt like they were like Souls level. And so I always felt like I had a chance in every single fight to actually win. And
Right.
so I kept playing it and I got the platinum. But 9 times out of 10, actually, not 9 times out of 10, I've played hundreds of games. This is the first platinum I've ever gotten. And it's it's to the point where, man, I'm watching people. It's a weak argument to have to take something that somebody said to prove a point. When you first did that, it was basically people talking up games that they had never touched before. And so it would show
Exactly.
that they were downloaded, but their achievements were zero. Uh,
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
and so
People capping for games they didn't play.
Right. And then they come out and they're like, well, you didn't beat Forspoken. I never said I did. Well, you didn't beat Forbidden West. Dude, when Alex brought up Forbidden West and like, well, you didn't beat Forbidden West, and you're like, I know. I've said that multiple times.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like dead silence.
Because he was expecting me to lie about it, bro. And I'm like, why would I lie about gaming? If you go and look at the hours, I've spent 90 hours in Horizon. If I wanted to beat it, I'm way over level to do so. I'm just enjoying games, bro. I'm enjoying the game. I'm an artist too. You can actually look up my art. So I'm real. I love art, and in a game that's artsy like that, I'm want to look at every single crevice of it and be in awe. Be like, God, how did they do this? You know what I mean? Like, God, this is crazy that this is actually a game. You know, this is actually done with ones and zeros, and it's it's like I said, they don't know what they're talking about, bro. And they try to catch me in things, and I'm like, bro, I never claimed to have ever, you know, beaten a game that I've ever. Why would I do that? To me, I'm so prideful I'm old school, bro. I'm a high score arcade type gamer too. I grew up in the arcades, and I mean, who would lie about like that's like me lying saying that I beat the best guy in the arcade. You know, like what would that do for me as an individual? I don't play video games to impress other people. I play video games for my own enjoyment, for my own entertainment. I can care less what other people think or of me and what I play or how I play. So why would I lie about something like that? Why would I lie about beating games? But people do it, and it just baffles me to the max that people actually do it. And it baffles me as to how many people do it. Because there's a ton. And they are usually Xbox guys. I'm not trying to say that it ain't. I'm just saying what it is. And when I did the PlayStation report card, if you think my trophies are high, look at people like J Tech, Jay Bari, Sick Humor. Their trophies are insane, insane. You know what I'm saying? Because they're playing and beating the games that they are saying they're playing and beating. Whereas I go on the Xbox side, there were only two people, well, three people who I gave respect to, and that was Cody Eastwood, which I think is his kids, Dirk Riggedy, who plays his games, and Kid Smooth, who plays his games. And when they saw my video, I saw Kid Smooth's reaction when he saw my video, because he thought it was going to be bad about him when he came up, but he saw all the props I was giving him. He was like, "Oh, okay, I like this video." Like, yeah, of course you like it, because you thought I was going to be a fanboy about it when it wasn't that. But there were so many people, the post ups, the almost all the Iron Lords, just all these people who have big names. Oh, Randall Thor is also one of them who also plays this game. But there's so many of these people, bro, that don't play their shit, but have whole channels based on something that they don't like, and I just can't understand it. Or they'd be on Twitter 24/7, talking about stuff that they don't like, talking about games that they don't play, and I think that hurts gaming. You know, and it just I don't know, man. The narrative that they drive is usually toxic, and you just wouldn't believe some people that I even compared that they call themselves Xbox guys. Say like Dirk Rickety calls himself an Xbox guy, but he plays a lot of PlayStation, or they'll play a lot of Nintendo Switch. It's like Xbox is usually their secondary, but they make it seem like it's their main while they're on these social medias. So it's just so many lies being told that you don't know who to trust. So I don't know, man.
And
This is
that's
ridiculous.
why, so when I started my channel, what I decided to do, I went through and culled through my like subscriptions that I had. And I went through and I was like, okay, I don't need to be subbed to these people, don't need to be subbed to these people. These Like, and I literally like paired it back, and I think the only two people I have found, here's what I found. On YouTube, generally speaking, there's a sweet spot when it comes to creators. Generally speaking, if I find a creator that has 10 to 40,000, okay? I like their opinions and their videos way better most of the time, with a couple exceptions, than the videos that have thousands or hundreds of thousands and millions of subs to them. Like AJS, I love his show. I think he's funny. But like Dreamcast guy, I really do. He catches a lot of bullshit for a lot of not a good reason. Like
Uh-huh.
he does sometimes go clickbaity on stuff, but outside of that, which screw that. I went clickbait tonight. Like I straight up in my title put PS games to PC, CDPR breaks records, and Final Fantasy 16 complete at launch. Like those are all like eye-catching headlines because
As
I'm
they should be.
right.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in here just to jack around and circle jerk my host because I'm trying to actually build a channel. And
Right.
so
Exactly.
it's I follow people like Salty. I follow you. I follow Doc Dark because I think he's one of the most level-headed Xbox guys out there, and he's
Yeah, he's
honest.
funny. Yeah, he's honest and funny.
Like
I tell him all the time. I'm always messing with him because he's hilarious. He's a hilarious dude, man. He's funny.
he knows his shtick, he's got it down, and he'll admit, listen, I don't buy my games. I'm a Game Pass junkie. I'm a bargain bin McDonald's loving Game Pass junkie, and he's fine with that.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine because he doesn't lie about who he is. That's why I mess with him. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've always dealt with him like that. Him and his brother, man, because they've always kept it real about who they are, and that's all I can really ask for, bro. I don't care if you're Xbox or not. Be who you are. Don't pretend that you're something that you're not. And that's what Dark doesn't do. So I'm subscribed to him too.
And that's the like, and those people when they review games, I really pay attention, right? Like, because they're not trying to make sure they don't piss off a big corporate sponsor. They're not trying to make sure that they don't say anything that's going to paint the game in a terrible, terrible light. There's a few companies that I still watch, and I don't want them to act like if they ever saw this video that I'm throwing shade at them because I'm still subbed, but like Game Ranks. I absolutely love Falcon and Jake Baldino. I think they are fantastic at what they do. Their top 10 videos, their videos we want to see, 10 to hardest boss fights, like all that shit. I eat that stuff up, man. I love it because I love gaming. And so, like, they're putting out this top 10 hardest villains. And like I'm sitting there hoping that one of the people that I think is one of the hardest villains in gaming is on there. And so it's just they're really awesome, but I don't watch their reviews of games because they got a review code more than likely, and the company has probably, said something to the effect of, "Hey, be honest, but don't just bash our game." And
Right.
and so like that's not what I want. I want somebody who's going to come out like Porter Rock or like you or like Salty and go, "Listen, I played this game and it's dog shit. Like it's
Right.
terrible."
Yeah. That's what gaming needs. Like you said, it's just everybody trying to get money. Everybody's trying to get the attention of the salesman. You know what I mean? And it's a new way of marketing. I mean, I don't know if you watched Daydreams before, but I think one of my very first daydreams, I think it was the first daydreams, was about um, social media and influencers, micro influencers, right? And how they're becoming the most important for marketing for big companies. And I was showing all the programs that they don't show people and all that, and showing how people are actually, and it sounds exactly like a lot of these Xbox fans do, and or a lot of these YouTubers do, really, to where they want to be, they want to seem like they're normal like us. They don't want, they're not celebrities, they're not LeBron James, because if you bring LeBron James on to sell a game, you're gonna feel like LeBron James with the PlayStation. Sony played paid LeBron James. And so LeBron James is saying that he likes PlayStation, but we don't know the real answer to that. But micro influencers are guys who aren't celebrities, who look like they aren't getting paid, and who are just saying what they like. And that's more influential to people because, oh, that person right there is like, I know this person. You know, this person likes my stuff or whatever. I know, like I know this person isn't a celebrity. He isn't a higher person than me, but this person likes this, so let me try this. And that's what's the new sales pitches that are happening. That's how new things are happening. And now you start noticing Microsoft giving review copies to channels that have 1,000 subscribers, which is never seen before. But they're doing that because that small channel isn't going to say nothing bad about that game code that they got because they want more, because it's an advantage for their channel to grow. Same thing with Digital Foundry and me exposing them about how they were doing things with Microsoft. And I don't know if you've seen that. That's probably one of my, to me, that's one of my best works, was exposing Digital Foundry to the point to where Digital Foundry apologized to me personally, bro, because I caught them being bought out by Microsoft. And
How long ago was
I
that?
this was like this was when Gears of War 5 came out. They did it with Gears of War 5. And so whenever that came out, was that 3 4 years ago? 4 4 years ago? 3 years ago? Um, and like I'm cool. I talk to them to this day. I talk to John and them to this day. You know what I'm saying? And John changed the way he does his analysis now because of me exposing him on that. Because I caught him saying word for word what the coalition was saying about their game in another interview with Eurogamer, which is still a part of them. So I started putting things together, and I did this whole investigate. It took me like probably 2 weeks, and I was just investigating everything, bro. And I put everything together so perfectly that when they first saw the video, they were cussing me out. Like they were mad, pissed off. And even Kroby Cat, I don't know if you know who Kroby Cat is, but even Kroby Cat saw the video and recommended it on his channel. And a lot of people watch this my channel because of that. And Digital Foundry got hold of it, and they were on Twitter just going off, bro, like pissed at me, right? And um, I happened to I made another video showing the whole thing. I was like, this is what y'all are really doing. Y'all want to be pissed off? I'll show you. I'll make you pissed off. So I showed him the whole thing, right? To where John Lemon was so mad, he was on NeoGAF, right? I was trending on NeoGAF. And he went on NeoGAF and he was talking big shit. And one of my homies that's on, I never frequent NeoGAF in my life. I could never get in because you needed a certain kind of email, right? For some reason, NeoGAF let me in, bro. This is a true story. NeoGAF let me in for some reason, bro, with my regular ass email. And this was back when you needed like a business email or some shit, right? They let me in, and he was talking big shit in that little section. So I said, "I'm here. What you got to say?" So we had this whole conversation, and the back and forth is so fantastic. I mean, the messages we were leaving were like big ass, long ass messages, man. And I had him break down. I said, I told him about how the coalition. He admitted that the coalition did, and Microsoft always does give them things to say in their analysis. And I said, well, then that's not an analysis, is it? Because when you analyze, you find these things for yourself and you test these things. Right now, what you're doing is promoting their product. And he said, that's true. That's basically what we do on some of the analysis, on some of them. He said, we don't do it for Sony because Sony doesn't communicate with us. And so we got to truly analyze Sony games. So that's why they're back then, especially, they were really deep with their analysis. Say for Spider-Man, for example, John Lemon spent 20 minutes on shadows alone in Spider-Man, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's longer than the entirety of the Gears 5 analysis that they had. So I pointed all this stuff out, and then he ended up hitting me up um, in the DMs, like in the private DMs, because I was just killing him. And he was like, "Man, I see what you're saying, man." He went back after we talked for a little bit because we talked. He even started talking about his personal life and telling me different things and why he was apologizing for going off on me and calling me names and shit like that. Um, he told me about like shit with his mom and things that he's going through. I'm like, cool, bro. We've been cool ever since. But then he went back on NeoGAF and then apologized for the things that he said to me about me, said the things that I was right about, and then he said they'll change their ways and do better for everybody. So made him apologize and everything. I didn't make him, but he actually did it. You know what I'm saying? He was a man about it. It's a long story, but it's a good story. Just because this is back when my channel was small. You know what I'm saying? They already had 1 million subscribers, or they were just reaching 1 million subscribers, and my channel was like at 3,000 somewhere. And I basically made them bend the knee, even though my channel was smaller, should have been unknown. My videos should have been unknown, and I had these people who had millions and millions of subscribers, um, watching my stuff and recommending my stuff and reacting to my stuff, and it's just like I always take away. I don't know why, but I'm just saying all that to say that you never know what's really going on in the background of this gaming shit, man. To where I always trusted Digital Foundry until I saw that Gears video, and that made me think more. And I think more gamers need to be that way, because we used to be that way. We used to be investigative as hell. We used to be the smartest customer on the planet. That's why we know who these people are. We know who Phil Spencer is. You know, most of these people don't know who fucking Phil Spencer is, or most people don't know who made fucking Minute Maid lemonade. We don't know who the boss is of that, but they're the same type of customer. They're customers still. We are the type of customer who know everything. But now, even though we know all that stuff, people are still dumb as hell, and let them do what they want to do and run over us as a customer, and we're losing that strength. And Microsoft is taking advantage of all these people and using these micro influencers who don't look like influencers, and to gain our trust and to bring people to their products. And I think that's just not right. We need to have more openness on what is what. And that's basically what I've been doing on my channel, is just exposing the truth about who's actually gaming, who's actually a influencer, who's actually trying to be an influencer, and who's actually trying to make gaming better for all of us. And that's the dilemma that we have in our community today, is shit like that.
So I'm actually going to give you some big props, because a lot of your docuseries are actually really, really, really well done. And like I watch for docuseries, Brando SP does some really good ones for like JRPGs and Final Fantasy and Nier and all that. And then Final Fantasy Union does some really good ones for Square Enix, like history of development cycles for this game or that game. They're one of the people who were able to play test Final Fantasy 16, and so they have a great relationship with that company. But they also don't, like, I know for a fact that there is a smaller channel, got a review code of Forspoken, and I think the channel has like 1,500 subs or 2,000 subs. And he got a review code for Forspoken, reviewed it very terribly, and has not been given another code since.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. They give you a review code, and your payment is to give them a good review, especially when you have a small channel.
Or let me rephrase that. It's not that he didn't get another review code. He's getting offers for review codes for games that he would never want to play anyways.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like,
that's cool.
he was telling me about Keymailer and the other big one that's out there, and he's like, yeah, I got a review code for Forspoken, and you saw my review on that, and then after that, they send me all these little indie titles, and I'm like, man, I don't want to play any of these. Like, and so it's that line that you have to toe, because here's the fact of the matter. I have this channel because I love gaming. I love budget gaming, finding games on sale and playing them. But the thing is you mentioned us being really informed gamers. And so when I would find a game on sale for $10, $20, I'd look it up. Well, hell, the game was from 5 years ago. And so you would end up seeing all these reviews from 5 years ago. Well, shit, I got a PS5 sitting in my living room. I don't want to know what it runs like on the PS4 base model. I want to know what it runs like on my PS5. And so I saw a market that's like, hey, if people can post cat videos and those videos get millions of views, and there's half a billion gamers in this world, 300,000 of them have access to the internet, or 300 million have access to the internet, then surely to God, I'm not the only cheap bastard out there who games and who's looking up reviews for these. Because, like, here, I approach everything the same way I approach video games. Everything in my life has always been, if I like it, I'm going to know a shit ton about it. So
Right.
I'm actually a big rap fan, and
Okay.
I don't listen to mainstream rap anymore. I listen to a
Neither do
ton
I.
of independent guys.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I listen to independent guys who have been featured on a lot of stuff that Knox Hill puts out, because I think Knox is fantastic. And so he's had Rez on there, he's had Jaren on there. Those two guys are awesome, and like that's how I find out about new music, is through artists that I like do features with these other artists, and I'm like, well, shit, does he have an album? He does. Wonderful, and I buy that. Where is he from? How did he get into rap? Like, I want to know all of this. And it goes
Right.
even deeper, like even with something as arbitrary as a TV purchase, right?
Yeah.
I I just recently got a 4K 120 VRR HD10, cooks your breakfast for you, gives you a reach around when you're sleeping. Like, it's a good TV. But
Hmm.
I searched that stupid thing for like a month and a half before I actually bought it. What chips do they use? What processors do they use? What tech do they share with other companies? Who's the main company that owns them? Like, because all of that plays a factor into the TV that I buy. I used to only
Right.
buy Vizio TVs because they were made with Sony components, and they were essentially a Sony TV with a Vizio logo.
Right.
And so, like, I know about the companies that I fucks with. And so, because of that, I do research on people, right? I found out, Wooly Gamer was promoting Reforge a lot during the ABK stuff when it was really hot and heavy. So I get
Right.
on and I start watching a lot of Reforge. And I reach out to Lono. Him and I talk. Him and I found out that through his streams and through our conversations that we actually have a crap ton in common. Dude's actually a pretty good dude. And so, like, I research everything. When I was doing the show for tonight, uh, I was looking at like what was like gaming news, right? I went to like
Right.
5 or 6 different gaming news outlets, and I was like, okay, I don't want to talk about that, don't want to talk about that. And then when I picked a topic to discuss, I actually read the goddamn articles and then I discuss it, because I don't want to come in here and go, hey man, did you hear about that new person that was leaving such and such studio? Oh no, what happened? I don't know. I expected you to know about it. Like, that's stupid. You have to
Yeah.
do your research.
You have to.
And
Yeah.
so, because when you don't, eventually, excuse me, eventually I'm going to get to the point where I have people trying to check me on my stuff. And if you never lie, you never have to worry about it, right?
Right.
I tell my kid that all the time. I got 2 of them. And I tell my oldest, who's 9, like, dude, listen, the hardest part about lying isn't the initial lie. It's trying to remember it and keep it up for more than 20 minutes. Like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's the hardest part, because you're gonna forget, you're gonna like default back to normal, which is you telling the truth and being honest with us. So why don't you start out that way? And like, that's my philosophy in this is, listen, we're all gamers. Like, I think it's one of the things I've done is I've surrounded myself with a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of folks on Twitter who are just gamers. I don't really interact with the console war people. I think it's fun to puff out our chest, to say, haha, we got you. Where are your games? That's all, to me, that's all big brother, little brother type stuff. Like,
Right.
we're all brothers. We're all in this together. We all want good games. And so to like when Redfall came out, yes, every single person in the gaming world dogged that game. And if you didn't, you were lying. But like
Direct lies.
that completely direct lies. If you looked at that PlayStation showcase after all the hype and all the tweets and all the insider information and all of this other stuff, by the way, people say don't listen to insiders. Tom Henderson has been right about a lot of shit. And
Hmm.
somehow dude got the showcase wrong. Like something happened and that showcase came out and it was not up to the standards that PlayStation has set for themselves. So we all dogged it. There was not a single PlayStation fan, even even one of the guys who gets labeled a pony so much, even Dreamcast guy came out and said, "Yeah, that showcase sucked." Like, and it was because it wasn't up to our standards. They gave us on paper a great showcase. Like on paper, we got 5 titles that were by first party studios. 4 of those, I'm sorry, 3 of those are live service. One of those is, I'm sorry, that were exclusive. One of those is made by a third party studio that did really good work on their previous game. So awesome, come over to us, great. And then you had, of course, Spider-Man. And so they gave us 5 console exclusives, or 5 exclusives, 4 of which are being done by first party studios. They gave us a movie trailer to, like I mentioned earlier, they gave us all that shit, but because and you pointed this out, because we didn't see what we wanted, because we didn't see the things that we expected, Ghost of Tsushima 2, the offshoot Atreus game, what the hell Naughty Dog's been working on, what's coming up for Sony Santa Monica, what's coming up for Sucker Punch. Like, they didn't show us their big 5 outside of Insomniac. So we have 4 studios that didn't show us shit. And we pounced on it. Why? Because at the end of the day, gaming is not something that I do just for fun. And I know it sounds terrible and people can say, well, you don't have a life if you view gaming that way. Yeah, blow me. It's very much the aspect of, and Doc Dark pointed this out on the Saltiest Gaming pod. He was like, man, until I really got into this, I didn't realize that to some people, gaming is a passion. It's not a hobby like it is for me. It's a passion.
Yep.
And it's
Hmm.
so true. But that's also why sometimes your passion has to be met with logic. And that's what separates a good content creator from a bad content creator. It's not the subs, it's not how many people you have coming to watch your videos or anything like that, because you have terrible content creators that have hundreds of thousands of subs. And so that's not something that really sets and resonates and can be quantified in the sense of how monetized your channel can get. It's all based
Right.
off of your integrity. You know, there's one guy, and I'm not going to name his name because I can't stand him anymore. He had flipped from Xbox to PlayStation, and then
Back to
when,
Xbox.
and then right
Oh
back
no,
to,
my bad.
yeah, and
My
then
bad.
he
Go ahead.
went back to Xbox. And ever since, like, I was subbed to his channel during that transition, and it was the weirdest thing because he would do all of these things that were like clickbaity, or he would have something in the title and then not even talk about it, or he would come out and do an apology video, or he'd start shit with other creators who were like way bigger than him. And one of those creators just likes to start. Actually, he doesn't start shit. He usually finishes it. But like if he gets brought in, he never backs down. And so like
Right.
you saw all of this crap happen, and like that just killed his channel for me because it spoke to his integrity. It spoke to more things that are more important to me than just, oh my goodness, Can he get review codes for these games and pop them out? Can he get subscribers? Can he get people to watch his videos? Dude, there's a guy on, I think it's Blitz. He does some of the most off the wall, cringy rumor stuff ever about, JRPGs, Final Fantasy, Diablo, anything and everything that's out there. If it's the most minuscule rumor from somebody who works in the basement at Kotaku, or Kotaku, hmm.
I think you was right the first time. At
Okay,
least
there
that's
we
how I
go.
know it the first
Like, listen, man, you have to have a PhD to know some of these names and how to pronounce them.
time. Oh, big facts.
But
Big
like,
facts.
he sits there and he gives some of the most off the wall rumors, but that's been his show and his channel since he started. And so even in that, I don't really watch his videos much anymore, but like sometimes I'm like, "Oh, what's he saying about Ubisoft right now? What's he saying about Assassin's Creed? Oh, oh, well that'd be cool if it happens." Like it's something I go to for entertainment because I'm not
Right.
expecting validity from it. But like
Facts.
there's others that I go to that I judge heavily based off of consistency. I don't care what your stance is. Are you consistent? And that is a huge, huge red flag for me in gaming or in anything in life. If you're not consistent, so boycotts, right? We're just gonna go off on a tangent. It's so boycotts here. Everybody boycotts everything, right? And so
Yeah.
back in the day, there was a big boycott against the Girl Scouts of America because they were going to let Boy Scouts come in and they were going to start selling the Girl Scout cookies just as called Scout cookies and all this other bullshit. And they were going to like take away the dividing line and it was going to be great. And people boycotted it because that was in support of the LGBTQIA community and all this other stuff. And I actually know somebody very close to me who was like, "Yeah, I'm not buying Girl Scout cookies this year." I went into their fridge and I was like, "You got Kraft mayo sitting right here. You drive a Ford pickup truck. You have a TV on your wall from a big company. Like, your kids watch Disney movies and Marvel movies. Do we want to talk about how much money Ford gives versus how much money the Girl Scouts give? Or how much money Chevy gives or Walmart? Like, do we really want to go down this rabbit hole? Like, we're boycotting stuff just to be fake outrage and just to be like part of the group, and we're not carrying it out to its logical conclusion. That's why I don't boycott anything. I just don't buy it. Like, I don't socialize, I don't put it on social media. I don't nothing. If I don't like what your company stands for publicly, then I don't need to buy your product. And so, I don't know. Consistency is a huge thing, and that's something that I try to bring to this. But we are going to wrap up, guys. I really appreciate y'all coming in. I think I got to go back and look at the analytics, but I think we broke a record tonight with concurrent view count, so that's good. I gained
Oh,
a couple
nice.
subs tonight. Appreciate that. Thank y'all for everybody who stopped by. King Thrash, I know he doesn't want his channel promoted, but my God, it's my show, so I'm promoting his channel. Go check him out. It's King Thrash Gaming. I know that he said he wants you to find it himself, but also go check his art out. I'm going to try to see if I can find his art and post it on here, or maybe he can just DM it to me. That'd be kind of cool. Because I found some stuff, but it's like two wrestlers. And
No.
it,
It's I do charcoal graphite art. So this type in King Thrash and
I did.
Google King Thrash images, and then most I can't say most. It used to be most, but now it's a lot of people who use my name.
Is it
But
like the trolls? Is that you?
no, because that's the actual King Thrash. Like that's the name of that troll. Um, it's
Okay, and
black
it's
and white.
not the wrestler.
No, hold on, let me. I'm gonna look it up. I'll show you right. I mean, I'll tell you right now because I know you probably got to scroll. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
Because all it's pulling up for me is the troll stuff and a like.
All right. You see a picture of Martin Luther King. You see that a drawing of Martin Luther King. Let me see.
Let's see,
Damn, there
King.
is a lot of.
Dude, I'm telling you, like all it's pulling up is the
There's one
cat
of Smo.
wrestler.
One of one of Kobe, or type in King Thrash. Let me see. Let me see if you do. If you do it that way, it'll probably come up better.
What if I do King Thrash MLK?
Yeah, you can do that. That's the name of it too. Could be. How you spelling King Thrash? Are you spelling with a space or no space?
Space.
No space.
I'm really trying to find this before I get off here because I want to link it to the video. Oh, on
Yeah.
DeviantArt?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that's a really good Kobe.
Oh yeah, that's like my old shit. I hate that Kobe.
I mean, it still looks good.
No, that looks alright. Yeah, it's my early days, boy. Oh my god. Oh,
We're gonna,
so much
yeah.
better now. Like the Martin Luther King one I did on my lunch break at when I used to work at Target. I did that shit on my lunch break. Like somebody told me to draw something real quick. I'm like, nigga, psst. Yeah, I'll bring my pencils tomorrow, dog. I'll show you what it is. I did that. It's one called Bus Stop Beauty. It's one called anything on the DeviantArt. Most of the things on the DeviantArt. Most of the
Dude,
things.
I love the picture or the drawing you did of the Cupid
Oh
versus
yeah, yeah.
like the loving heart versus the bleeding heart.
Oh yeah, that was for a contest too. That's real old too. But that was for a Valentine's Day contest drawing that my cousin asked me to do. So I was like, all right, I'll do it real quick. I did that shit in like probably an hour. Crude as hell. You looking at
That's all it's pulling up.
that's all me. You don't see. Let me see. Yeah, because there used to be a lot of my shit laying out. A lot of it. Ever since this King Thrash Troll came out, and this whoever this fur wrestler guy is, I don't know what that is. Um, but you can go like you can click the DeviantArt. I think it'll show all my DeviantArt stuff anyway. You can click on one of them. It'll show. I think it'll show most of my DeviantArt stuff.
It does. After I clicked on it, it does. It's
Yeah, I got stuff that got put in a magazine. There's one of a little girl, and with a tank in front of her. She's trying to give the tank a fucking flower, like it's about to run over.
yeah.
That got put in a political magazine.
That's fair.
Um, Bus Stop Beauty was just me doing some things. A lot of it was just me practicing and posting stuff. Um, one of them is from a comic. One of them is from Tearaway. That was a contest too. Just different things I was doing when I was, you know, younger. I do crazy stuff. I'm much faster and better now. I think I just tested myself with Einstein, a picture of Einstein. It's not even on DeviantArt. I forgot where I posted it. But right now I'm doing designs for my channel for my merch. But I did one of Einstein. It looks just to see if I still got it. You know what I'm saying? I'm better now. So it's like, yeah, I can still do this stuff. So no, I mean I'm an artist, so I like that's why I like gaming so much because I like the art in gaming.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I'm gonna link his channel, his Twitter, and all that, whether he likes it or not, and y'all be able to catch that. For those who stayed till the end, I really appreciate it. Y'all like. One of the things I love is that we're creating the community here. We're creating those day ones, those ride or die people who are going to show up all the time. So I appreciate that, guys. Tonight has been Ratchet and Clank. I feel like it was a good night to show Ratchet and Clank because it is coming to PC, and it kind of fit in with what we were talking about tonight. Check out King Thrash. Check out all of his stuff. And guys, you know what? As always, be cheap bastards and stay thrifty. Don't get locked into that to the gaming sickness like I had to break myself of, and like King Thrash is still in. That stuff will make you broke real fast.
Really, really bad.
Guys, y'all have a good night.